Oh, there it goes. Everybody, watch out and look up. It's Keep Up with Still Insane. Welcome to the show. I'm here with the rest of the Keep Up crew. Let's get some motherfucking shout-outs.
That was legitness.
It's time for some motherfucking shout-outs.
Marquise! It's like Ourstory, Project Help, Big Noob, in the house. In the house. Give us your shout-out, please.
Oh, man. My guy, Black Willy Wonka. That's what I call him. I hope he's going to run with that. My guy, KC, man, he runs It's a Bodega, ITS_A_bodega. That's a lot, but it stands for International Treats and Sweets. So that's what the ITS stands for. He's got everything from like seaweed chips to fucking Bootio cereals. Bob Ross has a cereal. Everything, every drink.
Bob Ross has a cereal.
Bob Ross has a cereal. Black Panther.
What are you like chewing on marshmallow trees? Like,
yeah, man. You got to whisper while you're eating it. So.
Whisper while you're eating it.
Yeah,
brush
man.
The spoon. Brush the spoon.
So yeah, man. He started up. He's got a shop now in Denver, but it's all online as well. And I mean, so every kind of stuff that you just crazy from different countries all the way, every continent. I think minus Africa, but he's trying to tap into that. So you realize how great other stuff is once you get outside, especially chocolate. Like European chocolate's fucking amazing. Like,
hands down, hands down. I've been to Europe.
Even last year, man, we went to London. Yeah, we went to Carnival my first time. So amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I saw that story. Carnival was happening in London at the time?
Yeah, man. London has a huge, not last year, I'm sorry, pre-COVID. So year before that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that's what that was for. I didn't know that was their own carnival.
They have a huge Caribbean population. There was over 1 million people.
Oh, that I knew. Yeah.
So yeah, it's Notting Hill Carnival. 2 days.
Wow. Was Hugh Grant in his carnival outfit? Was he?
No, I didn't see you know who was out there though that I was looking for, but I didn't see her was Sunday from Game of Thrones.
Miss Sunday, I love her. She's so hot.
Wow, she is.
Nice.
But then 1 million people finding her literally the.
Of course. Was she in her gown? Was she in her attire? Yeah. Oh my God, she was in carnival attire.
Not all the way that crazy, but she was definitely like.
Oh, not like Riri, not like our girl. Like the goddess,
yeah.
the goddess Riri. Yeah, okay. Nah. We can't have it all. We can't have it all. That was like more like I'm a Sunday. I'm a Saturday actually. It's sort of like. But anyway.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Bodega, man. Get the candy, and it's amazing. So he's doing real well, man. Proud of him, man. So he's got a lot. He's in Denver, so it's perfect because he smokes. So it's like the great place to be if you sell candy. Yes. And you got weed smokers, and the combination has just been great for him.
International. How does he? I mean, he doesn't get in a funky way. Like I can ask that question, right? Like, how does he procure them?
Yeah, man. Originally, when we first started, we were just making so many connections with people that we knew in these countries, and so, or military related connected. So a lot of our homeboys were
that's right,
based in England or based in Germany. So we would get packs that way. So now he does the wholesale buyers, or he goes straight directly to the stores, but still has some connects overseas. But he's just constantly, like, people look for shoes all the time, and he's just constantly on the search for candies now.
Is that like a side hustle for him, or has that become a big
he quit his
That
job,
is awesome. I was about to say, it like blew up. It's like very awesome, that page.
It's huge now, man. He's finally, when we talked about the idea last year, I was like, bro, you're literally quitting your job for this shit. Like, you're fucking crazy. Like, I'm still working to just pay for my fashion. It's like, he was like, and he's big in fashion. He was working at a big time Nike boutique store in Denver. And he's like, man, I love it here, but I'm gonna quit, man. I think this is it. And
that is so dope.
It paid off for him, man. So it's he's got some big time like influencers now that he has these bodega boxes where he puts all these variety of shits in there, and so influencers are now, getting Japanese hot Cheeto Doritos, or just create Dorito crackers and like no shell.
Well, after this, I'm going to be hitting up for an influencer, a barter system with your man Bodega. Yeah. When I went to Europe, even the Fanta has like little bits of fruit juice in it and stuff like that. So I totally am with you on that. European candy and international candy by far. I've even had African candy. I've had candy from a bunch of places, Philippines. So I am so with you on that. I don't really eat that much candy lately, but I would definitely eat something from outside the United States for sure.
Everything, man. And it still tastes, just like it came from over there, man. So
just like it came over there. It tastes like Sweden. Let's move on.
Do you taste?
Oh, mama, you're so fine.
What the fuck happened?
All right. Here we are back with more recounting. Counting more than we can count. If you have friends that count, they don't count. And technically, let's get into it. Lots of recounts. He is like pretty much, I'm pretty sure like I'm not even up to date anymore. He is like 0 for 26 in the courts now. Yeah, each week he's added on to that. Michigan, he had a recount. Then he had the canvassers go back and forth. 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, 2 of the Republican ones were on the fence. Then they voted, and then they did an affidavit, tried to have it inserted. Rudy Giuliani started sweating out hair dye.
Sweating out, man.
This is the sequel after the landscaping.
Yeah.
Chris Christie just fucking played Trump saying that he was that he's embarrassing himself. Mitt Romney, of course, he said that. Liz Cheney just.
Mitt Romney's a Democrat on the cool.
I know, right? I know. I try to tell people that. That Biden's actually a Republican. And you're right. I think Romney's that. Because Romney Care. Romney Care was so socialist.
Romney Care.
Exactly. And then he's got his polygamy going on in Utah. Like, come on, man. He's such a liberal.
Yeah, man.
He's liberal with the condoms, with the contraceptive. He's a true liberal, man.
Can't hide from us, Smith. We know you.
He got certified in Philadelphia, and that's where a lot of the, Pennsylvania, that's where a lot of the lawsuits are coming through, too. Trump tried to bribe with McDonald's, I guess, again, the Attorney General, the Secretary of State in Michigan, I believe. Then he lost twice in Georgia with the recount. He's about to get another one. He's about to get a machine recount. Please, Marquise, I'm talking too much. This is Black Ourstory. This is Marquise. This is Big Nuke. This is Project Help. And help us guide through this political shitstorm.
First of all, I want to commend Georgia for counting by hand. I don't know who the hell counts all those votes by hand. I hope they got paid very well during this time. But the most thing I love the most is when they show like all the old. I think old people don't realize how fast the internet moves. And like how fast somebody will pull up a clip of some shit you said from like 10 years ago. And so like looking at all the footage from like the 2016 election, they're like, since when does the news call who won? And since when did these, and like, I'm like, but the 2016 election, it was all like, hey, we called it fair and square.
Fair and square. Hillary's a sore loser. Al Gore's a sore loser.
Yeah. So between that and between the Trump supporters on this side of the fence saying stop the vote, stop the count, and then the other ones on this side of the fence saying keep counting, don't stop the count. It's been quite the shit show, as expected, man. I will say the one thing I'm not gonna miss about it is the comedy of the dangerous comedy, but the comedy of these past 4 years. Like every single day it was something. Now it's just going to go back to boring politics.
I'm going to miss the 3 a.m. Tweets. That's what I'm going to miss. The 3 a.m. tweet storms that I get to wake up to. That's what I'm going to miss the most.
The barrage, man. It's going back to just civility and like niceness and just normal again. It's that the new normal is going to be the old normal. It's not going to be cool anymore.
Trump's got Jack Dorsey from Twitter looking like David Caruso. Like Jack Dorsey. Or, like, he was like, fuck the results. I am taking off your POTUS moniker on January 20th right away. You think that he can beat Jack Dorsey and then Jack Dorsey's going to have sympathy for him? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And Ted Cruz. I hate Ted Cruz.
Oh, Eddie Munster. Eddie Munster missed it.
Is that what you
Right? If he was in that movie Crash with Tawny Newton, how come you didn't stick up for me? What was that to Terrence Howard? How come you didn't stick up for me with Trump? That police officer, what was it, Matt Day? No! That's what it should have happened. That's what it should have happened at the cruise home, the Cuban cruise home.
Yeah, Texan, yeah. All of the above. What I don't get is why Biden's asking for money. And I hate political parties.
He's in debt.
But I had to go back myself.
Their candidates are in debt.
Well, even then, I'm like, man, Like, and it was like, but he was blaming it on the transition or the lack thereof. So he's like,
because they budget right until November 3rd, November 4th, pretty much. He didn't expect. I mean, we went through the debates, and they did say they're like, that's what they asked like 50 million times. Will you concede?
Yeah.
Will there be a peaceful? And you thought that they were like being silly, but they weren't. They actually knew he was going to do that. Like we all knew he was going to do that. But Biden, yeah, he probably knew too, but he didn't budget for it. He didn't say to himself, damn, now I got to pay for this transition. Now I got to go sell some Girl Scout cookies, run a lemonade stand in front of Trump Tower. I don't know.
And the wild shit is, I'm like, man, you're asking people for money during COVID. Like you're asking people for money so you can transition, which nobody, I'm like, I've never seen since I've been paying attention to politics. Somebody like, hey man, I know I just won, but I need like about $100 more to get in here. Can you help me move in? Like I've never seen that.
Could you help me move in?
And that's how it sounds. And I'm like, man, you only gave me $1,200 a couple months ago. Now you need more money? Like I just looked you up. Like you're still asking for more? And so it just the optics looks like it didn't make sense. I'm like, well, I don't get it.
I have some friends that received, and I don't know who his marketing team is, because he always sends it to like, even to me, I've gotten letters from Trump. I've gotten all types of Facebook shit from him, even calls. Not recently. I was like really harassing the people that did that. It's like, fuck off, not voting for him. But so in one of the literatures for the reason why to send money to Trump, this administration, in the fine print, it was saying 60% of it was going to go towards his debt for his campaign. It said that in the fine print. And we've gone over this on the show before. That was like a big reason why Bernie got screwed in the DNC, because Hillary, in an unprecedented move. So let's go back even further. Mm-hmm. All presidents have debt from the campaign. Mm-hmm. Millions of dollars, Citizen United, all that bullshit, unlimited spending. But even when they're asking for money in the month of November, it still doesn't cover everything. So there's still a massive, massive amount of debt. So let's fast forward to Obama. I believe he had over. Damn, I'm not even gonna like lie and tell you exactly how much debt he had, but it definitely was a lot. So, but traditionally they get to pay it off year by year, just like us, like loans and blah blah blah, interest rate. Hillary, in an unprecedented move, was very impatient. So she said, fuck this. I'm going to pay all the debt. I'm going to pay all of Obama's debt mad early. And she did. She wiped out all the debt mad early. But she did an exchange with Debbie Wasserman. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz was like, hey, you can kind of pseudo run the DNC just because you bought it pretty much. And that's what happened. That's why she had so much yielding power. Well, and I voted for Hillary. Let's not like, I'm not going to try to like act like I'm so, but I was voting for Bernie, essentially, because like he got screwed. And I should have fought even more. I should have fought harder, but like Susan Sarandon and all those guys. But I didn't. I was just like, what am I going to do? I don't want Trump. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what I did now. Like it was basically Hillary again in Trump and Biden. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So that's like a very traditional thing, like the debt. So even with Biden asking for that transition money, that makes sense to me, at least. I don't know.
I get it, and I appreciate you for clearing that up. But at its base level, and I'm like, this is a rich person asking me to pay your debt.
Word.
I don't have any sympathy. I don't have any sympathy for you, bro. Like if like America told me that I'm supposed to save money for like 4 months of an emergency, I need y'all to do the same thing. If that's how capitalism works, I need companies to do. You shouldn't be getting bailed out. You tell me to save as a regular American. Hey, I need you fuckers to do the same. Save your money.
And you can attest to this.
I go bankrupt. Hey, if I run for San Antonio City.
That would be dope. That would actually make a lot of sense. You're awesome. No, and you can attest to this. When we were at school together, yes, Marquise is another fellow alum from DePaul University, Indiana, Green Castle. The Golden Tigers.
The Golden Era.
Yeah. The Golden Era. I like that. Hold on. What were we saying? Sorry. got too fanboy on that. Hold up. When we were back at DePaul, whatever. Not a big deal. So, yeah. Actually, no, what were we talking about?
I was wondering where you were going. I don't know if it was still politics. I didn't get it.
It was politics. It was with DNC, Bernie. Yeah, so basically, the transition team. I forgot where I was going with that. But anyway, let's focus. The runoffs. Are you paying attention to the runoffs? Like with Warnock and Loeffler, who just caught COVID. So
got COVID. Yeah.
So did Trump Jr. So did Trump Jr. And Trump Don Sr. was like, I'm coming, son. I'm coming. I'm gonna do a U-turn to the golf course. He was like, I got you, son. I got you. What the fuck? And even with the MAGA march, that guy was still like, what? He went to his golf course right after, not even right after. He was just like, he gave like a wave. He was just like,
he was out of there. It is kind of, so I saw the Florida governor, not the Florida governor, the old Florida governor.
Loeffler. She's Loeffler. She's also the owner of the Atlanta, what's the WNBA team?
Oh, the WNBA team. Oh, that's why I saw her courtside.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. They were protesting against her, too. That was a big reason why they did the Black Lives Matter, because of her.
Good on you. Hey, WNBA doesn't get enough street cred, but they've been out here in these protesting streets for a very long time. Like, they're making $30K down there. Yeah. Fun fact, I used to, when San Antonio, when we had our WNBA team, I was on their practice squad. And one of those girls can really hoop. I know, like, if you're watching TV, like, obviously you're naturally comparing it to the NBA, so you think, like, oh, this is, but I'm like, no, if you just keep it, like, they can fucking hoop. And so I was on their practice squad here. So the team that's in Las Vegas now, the Aces, was our San Antonio Stars, Silver Stars. And so I was on the practice squad, and they are very, like, pro everything. Like, I mean, down to earth, just, like, humble, I'm just here to hoop. Then it's crazy that some of them have to play, like, their coach had to play, like, year round for, like, 27 years, like, overseas, back home, or they're literally, like, living with together in apartments, or they got a second job somewhere. And I'm like, it just blew my mind. And so, like, you could see somebody working at PetSmart, and nobody I knew worked at PetSmart, but I'm just throwing it out there, like, you're working at the same time, and you're trying to be a mother, and you're hooping in a professional team. And so it just blew my mind. And soccer team goes in that same boat as well. But back to all that, yeah, man. Shout out to the Atlanta WNBA team, or WNBA in general, I think they've been way ahead of the NBA as far as protesting and standing on some rights. I think this year might be the most I've seen in the NBA.
You're right.
A collective force. They said like 90% of the NBA voted for the first time this year.
Yes, and that was a big a tribute to LeBron James. He led the charge with Vote or Die from Diddy's campaign, and you're right. It was 20% before that, the last election, and Shaq.
You said
Shaq and Snoop Dogg. Even though he's not in the NBA, Snoop Dogg voted for the first time. They're both in their 50s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson voted for the first time. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. Casamata, he'd be so proud. He'd be so proud.
He would, man. He has a great book.
Yes, he does. We'll talk about that. And I actually want to bring that on the show one day, not to like get too ADD. I would like to bring back What the Fuck Did I Read? Because I would love to talk about the Obama book, because I have that on audiobook. And we tried to talk about Mimi, but again, I'll try to bring that in a segment. But anyway, real quick about what you were just talking about. Yes, Diana Taurasi took a year off because of economic strife. That was crazy. Big shout out to Teresa Witherspoon. She's the first, she's the second actually to get a full-time coaching position. Becky Hammon is on the Spurs, and now you have Teresa.
Hey, she's cold. So I hooped with her on the practice squad.
Yeah, I had no idea this about you, bro. You got to keep talking about this. This is amazing. I didn't know you were that good. I've played with you. I didn't know you were that good to be on a practice squad. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm not, man. It was I played ball here in high school, so that's the only reason I got.
You were garbage, but I just didn't think you were practice squad good.
And no, my old point guard from here, man, we were close. So he was like, "Hey, man, we got some spots in the practice. We didn't get paid or anything. We just got some gear and whatever, and just so we played like whatever team they played. So if they were playing like Chicago, shout out to watching coming up, like. We would play,
on the sky.
We would play their defensive schemes. So whatever Chicago's defensive schemes were, and offensive schemes, so that way they could know how to react to that. So we were in the military, and so but Becky Hammon came out one day.
One of my favorites.
And we played on the Spurs court.
Cool.
It's definitely not. I feel like it's not a typical court. Like one trip down, I'm done. Like it's huge. It feels huger than it is, larger than it is. And but yeah, Becky was amazing, and she's like 40 something.
Yeah,
this was like at least.
I used to root for her on the Liberty. I used to root for her all the time. She was amazing. I was a big fan of her. Still a big fan of her. I hope she becomes a head coach soon because that's her goal and that's what she's destined to be. Again, Teresa Witherspoon is on the Pelicans now. She's a full-time coach. And a big shout out since we're on the women wave, a big shout out to Kim Ng from the Florida Marlins. Dodgers before that. She was a big executive. She was an assistant general manager to Brian Cashman on the Yankees. So I know a lot about her. She has a lot of rings with us. She was integral. Brian Cashman didn't even have to make that in the announcement. If you're a real Yankee fan, you know a lot about her. I'm very happy for them. I'm very happy for all these women. And I was on Maya Narratives, our guest last week. I was on her show, and we talked a lot about the rise of feminism. But we're not going to make a big deal out of that for this show because it's a different program. What else do we have? Yeah, let's get on to, we talked a lot about the recount. Let's talk about affluenza once again. That always gets onto this program. Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse and his $2 million bond, $2 million bail, Scott Baio, and I forgot where Ricky Schroeder is from. I know he's a child actor. I know he's been out of work, but he's been working on his backhand, definitely. He's been roughing up in domestic violence. So like I said on the pre-meeting with Marquise, it's not that much of a shock that he would be in favor of someone's Second Amendment rights actually putting it to the test and shooting someone in the middle. And actually, I found out this guy had mental health problems, the guy that he shot. He actually came out of a mental hospital, which doesn't look good in a court case, by the way. If you're in a court and you hear that the person that attacked Kyle Rittenhouse had mental health problems, not good. But I still think that was not a justified death. I still think you shouldn't be going over state lines to Keosha.
State lines, yeah. Yeah,
you still should be doing it, especially, and then he used a stimulus check. We just heard. We heard recently that he used a stimulus check to go buy the gun. I thought he borrowed it. He actually bought it. Somebody's getting fucking arrested for.
Yeah, I thought it was his mom's or something. After I saw the picture of him and his mom's, I was like, all right.
I know.
We can see how that rolls. But I thought I just saw a quote that he said he didn't regret it at all or whatever. And the picture I just saw, I'm like, oh, man, you're already smiling and posting. I'm just like.
Why would he? He has a happy day.
The privilege, man. And as soon as I seen it, I'm like, who the fuck is paying? Who paid this bond? And I figured it would be a group me or, like you said, a crowd. So I figured I'm like, that just goes to show we got a long way to go in this business.
He donated
the ways to go.
Oh, did you say we got wiped the ways to go? I'm joking. Because Ricky Schroeder gave supposedly he was the one that brought it over the top with the $150,000, and I agree with you, man. We have a long way to go. A very, very, man. We're not gonna see those type of changes until we're dead. To be honest, man. I don't even know
where he got that money from. Because looking at this catalog is not $150,000 worth of movie catalog.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's been a long time since he got good work. I think he was on a some type of CSI recently. I think that's some type of forensic show. But other than that, he's trash. He's trash.
That's got to be $40 an hour and you're only on for 2 hours on set. We need you off. All right. Where are you getting this money from?
Exactly. And I don't mean to be a bummer, but as you said, and then we have on the flip side, you have Tamir Rice. And it's, I think it's the 6-year anniversary of the 12-year-old death. Terrible, man. Terrible. You have he was holding a toy gun and cops didn't even give him enough time to respond. And they shot him cold dead right on camera, man. Right on camera. And still nobody
pulled up quick.
Yeah, man.
It was amazing how close they got when they pulled up out of the car. I was like, man, y'all aren't even going to pull. You pulled up next to the gazebo. And I was just, it's amazing. That's crazy. It's been 6 years. I know I've been realizing that how I base how time moves based off these huge events. And I'm like, holy shit, that was 6 years ago. That was 20 years ago. And it's these pop culture or these terrible ass tragic events that I'm realizing how fast time moves, but it's geez, it's a privilege of being able to be out free, taking pictures.
Absolutely. Well, you can thank Twitter for that news from me, at least, with Tamir Rice. But yes, rest in peace, Tamir Rice, and everybody that has been part of the struggle.
Man.
Black Lives Matter. Go Corey Smith. She's in politics right now, so hopefully she'll help out with that Black Lives Matter initiative. Let's get on to some entertainment.
What the fuck did I
All right. Good news. Megan Thee Stallion. You know, I was a month ago years old when I found out that she was like around like 6 foot tall. I had no idea. And then our friend Phil Porter, I brought it up to him, and he was like, how'd you not know? She's called a stallion. She's built like a stallion. I'm like, that's good, but I still didn't know. It still like went over my head.
See, but just some Texas insight. Like, we've been saying the word stallion, like, forever.
Yes, you have.
Like, and so even though, and we've never realized, I just realized years ago that, oh, this is a male horse. But none of that, but none of that mattered. Like, if you were just.
What about Colt 45, bro? What about Colt 45?
And so for Texas people, it was just like, okay, Megan Thee Stallion, but that was something like if you just saw a fine gal back in the day, or she was, you know, that track or volleyball type of person or whatever, she would just find out, damn, she's a stallion. It was just, that's just Texas colloquial verbiage for us. So I've never attributed the word the stallion to the height either. I assume she looked tall, but it could have been you or whatever. But
I only saw her once live. Unfortunately, I was really, really far, and she made me miss Lizzo and the baby because her set was so late. And so I saw Lizzo, and I've seen Lizzo before, so I was like, okay, maybe I can go see a little bit of Meg Thee Stallion. And so I regretted it. I saw Meg Thee Stallion. She was great. But it went so late that the baby snuck off and did a surprise performance with her, which was on Instagram and all that. And I was still at Meg Thee Stallion. So then when I got back, I saw more Lizzo. Then I got back to the baby, and the baby had already done a performance with Lizzo. I was like, fuck, I was so tight. But back to Meg Thee Stallion, I should have known she was tall because I was so far. I could still see her. I was really far back. And she had like a white wig on and stuff. Like, it was really short, still hot. But maybe that's what it was. I was really perved out because, like, I was really focused on how hot she was. I wasn't really focused on her height. I had, like, kind of like a vision of, like, the neck was kind of the neck was kind of cut off of my vision. It was kind of cut off.
Or is this like one of your New York shows or Made in America?
This was in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Oh, Made in America?
But that's Philadelphia. That's Philadelphia.
I haven't been there yet, man. I get anxiety now, man. So I went to my first big open show, or whatever they call it, here in Austin. Austin has a big one.
Austin City Limits.
San Antonio actually have one. We have one now. Malapalooza or some shit like that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I can't wait to get back to those days again. I know you don't like festivals, but I love them.
I just get it. It's anxiety and shit, man. The Austin one wasn't that bad, but I've heard about Made in America and, like, being around that many, like, people, like.
I'm used to it, man. And I'm tall myself, so when I go to concerts, I tell one of my friends that some people don't even ask me. They just start climbing on me, like, to, like, do, like, a crowd surf or, like, I'm dead serious. Yeah, and when people tell me they have anxiety or they don't like crowds, I'm always like, I mean, I don't like getting climbed on, but I'm like, like, if you can't deal with that, you definitely can't deal with what I deal with. Like,
you don't have people being like, yo, I need you to move out there.
They don't even ask. They don't even ask, especially girls. Especially girls. They just go like this. Like one time, like on my face, like it was like, I was like, what's going on? And one time I was at a show, and
all the way around though,
there was a person on. I know if I started climbing on people would die. I've even had big chicks. One time I was on E, and one of my ex, she was like, "Yeah, Mary Lou wants to see the show from your shoulders," and I'm like, Mary Lou's like 300 pounds, and I popped the mile. I was like, "All right, we can do this. We can do this."
Let's go.
I was like this. I was like, "Yeah." Rihanna. Actually, I think it was Calvin Harris.
Get him to the Greek when he like stabs him in the.
Oh yeah, the adrenaline, the Joffrey. That was a good movie. That was like, did he actually did his thing? Did he actually did his thing? So yeah, no, I love festivals, and I love the new. It's a little cheesy, the new single by Meg Thee Stallion, Body Yaddy Yaddy, but it does the trick. It does the trick. Have you seen that yet?
No, man, I haven't seen I haven't seen any videos period in so long. Like, I feel like I forget that videos are still a thing, and so I'll catch them if I'm ever.
It was on our Instagram. That's all. That's the only reason.
Oh, it's on Instagram. Okay.
Either.
I listen to. I don't get much into celebrity beef, so that's why I'm always lost. Like, I had to go read up on the Gucci Jeezy. I know we'll talk about later, but I never know the details of shit. But I did know because I had just recently became a Tory Lanez fan before all this. Just recently became musically, I don't know these people, so I'm not a fan of you in life, but musically. And so when
odd timing to become a fan.
it was the 2 mixtapes ago or whatever it was. So not the Chicks tape, but the whatever that was when he kind of
it's on his 5th, I believe. 5th, and they're all good. He makes good music.
And so the timing, so I'm like, man, okay, he can go. And then the shit happened, and I'm not one to fall into the Instagram judge, jury, executioner. Our Instagram said you're fucking guilty, you're guilty. And I'm like, I'm not one to be let's wait for the results, but I'm just not going to give you.
Cheese foot was kind of I don't know.
I think I might have saw the.
She's still removing bullets. She has had 3 surgeries. She's still removing the fragments from her foot.
And I didn't even doubt that something happened. I just didn't know what the something was. So when I saw just the world pushing this person out and automatically going over to this person, I was like, all right, well, let me see what both sides are. So I heard his last album, and the whole album addressed the whole issue, basically.
Yeah, he did.
Was it Daystar or Day, whatever his name is?
Yeah, Daystar. That's his name, actually. This is
So I wanted to listen to. So I did listen to her first one. I'm like, it half impressed it on, but I fuck with her just because she's Texas, But
that's right.
I'm just not gonna blindly just give people my loyal. I don't know these humans. I don't know any of these humans. So I'm just, So I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I was just interested on how the narrative was gonna play out from a musical perspective, because I'm like, man, he just dropped an entire 18-track album about the situation, and he still loves you apparently. What do you got for me?
What do you got for me?
Give me something. And I didn't get it, man. I was like, damn it. So it's cool. I guess it'll come out at some point. But
I feel you. Well, even on this show, we covered it a lot. So, but if I had to put my personal stamp on it, I'm going to stand with Meghan. I'm going to, and especially with the timing too. He brought that album out when the verdict for Breonna Taylor was announced through the Attorney General Cameron. And I think he's a piece of shit. I think he's a piece of shit. He was the only one with the gun. What, did someone take the gun from him? It was just. You're right. We've talked about.
And I didn't know it was too much misinformation, information. Her former homegirls were coming out and speaking, and it was just it just got messy a little bit. I did see it. I'm like, all right, I don't want to.
Yeah, you're right. It's just that women have been in this predicament for a long time, and it's always glossed over or something happens. So me personally, not you, but me personally, I try to lean more towards the women more often. You're right. But I try not to have the blind faith at the same time. But again, there's just so many instances where women were just brushed aside in these, and men are just not. I'm not speaking to you personally, but men are just automatically believe there's these gold diggers. Oh, this woman she's actually more successful than him. So why would she want to just have her foot shot to what point is she making with that? So to me, even in her music, he said, and in the Instagram live video, she was saying that he went to his publicist right away. Who does that? Who talks about an ongoing court case like that? Right in the middle. I've seen Jay-Z afterwards. I've seen Snoop Dogg afterwards. Murder was the thing they gave me. Sean when he got out of jail. You know what I'm saying? But I've never seen somebody where the charges weren't even brought up yet come out with a whole album describing the details. And again, like you said, even professing his love is still love for the girl. But
again, a lot of that too is because the internet moves so quick and you're already judged by public opinion. I think there was a few times where he's like, man, I can't sit back and be silent. And I try to put myself in both people's scenarios, right? If I've already got.
Well, James Franco did. Why can't Daystar be quiet? What's wrong with being quiet?
Yeah. Or, the Johnny Depp thing. He wrote a whole letter about, when he got kicked off whatever movie.
Well, he went to court too. Yeah, he went to 3.
Yeah, they did. So,
battle.
Yeah. And so it made me, I was talking to a homie the other day, and I'm like, I realized, how much we give celebrities way too much of our platform. But, 2, how much appeal the crowd has in the things that they do. And that could be for street shit, or that could be for how much when they go live, how much that number at the top means to them, how much those comments mean to them. True. And getting the crowd on your team early. And going back to some history shit, it's just the Boston Massacre. We all learned what the Boston Massacre was. You know what they call the Boston Massacre in England? It's called the Incident on King Street. Because it's not.
I didn't know that.
only 2 people died. Only 3 people died. So it's like, but because Samuel Adams, if I'm not mistaken, he was the first person to get to the printing press, write down Boston Massacre on that bitch, and spread it to the world.
Do tea leaves count, tea bags count as casualties of a massacre? Does that count? No, that count.
We can add it, but I'm not. So we've been doing this shit since the 1700s. Who can get to the crowd first, get them on your side, and then that's the narrative. And so that's where. So I wasn't even trying to insinuate or say.
No.
Yeah, absolutely not historic. I know you weren't coming at me, but
no, not at all, not at all. Even another example before we move on to Kylie Minogue's new album and her record that she just broke.
What a great segue.
Right. Lorena Bobbitt, by the way, I know, right? And I go back to the dick slicing. Lorena Bobbitt. We were young when that trial was going on, so I had to watch Jordan Peele produced one on Amazon. It was called Lorena. Very, very good. Very, very good. It's 4 parts, I believe, 4 episodes. And it shows both their sides. So the first half is the trial that went on with, I think Michael Bobbitt, I think that's his name. Mm-hmm. And, that's not his name. John Bobbitt, something like that. Some
John Bobbitt sounds familiar, but we'll call him Michael John.
Anyway, so Lorena from another country, she married him and, they had a tumultuous relationship, and supposedly, during the relationship, they got upset and she chopped up his penis and threw it on a grassy knoll near a gas station. So in the documentary, it showed that the popular, like you said, he went to court first. So a lot of the narrative, kind of like Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton, a lot of the narrative was towards John. He was on the Howard Stern show. He was all over the place. Like everybody was sympathizing with him. And on top of that, the Virginia court, the Virginia court, it was on his side because the law, and I don't know if you heard this on the show before, but in Virginia, I don't even know if the law stands anymore, but when he was on trial, any rape that occurs in Virginia common law, if a rape occurs, you can only account for 5 days before or 5 days after, and you only get 1 rape to account for. Mm. So she, in her testimony, and she said that he had raped her many times. Well, I only get to talk about 1, and then on top of that, if he didn't rape me 5 days before or 5 days after, I can't talk about it either. That's a man law right there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and he's from Canada, so he has no influence on that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, and then when she went to her own trial, she had at least 20 witnesses. She had witnesses from his friend circle, all that, and it totally flipped, and he lost. He lost he lost the civil trial, and he's broke to this day, and he has like a severed.
I think we never got the full story.
You got to, man. The prime is good.
All we heard was like a penis was chopped off, and that was it. Like and you threw it out the window or wherever. Like
that was her reputation too. That was her reputation too.
Yeah, I thought he tried to do porn or some shit after that.
He did. He's not a good guy. But anyway, you'll see the documentary. But what I meant is that we automatically, even myself, there's been times where like I've been like, what's she doing? Even when I was younger with Cosby, like what's her name doing? Or Isaiah Thomas with Saunders with the MSG probe. So yeah, so whatever. I didn't mean to like get in all that. Anyway. I feel you. You're right. We can't let just seeing headlines like guide us and be the popular opinion. We got to let this play out. So I agree with you on that stance. Kylie Minogue, she is the oldest person to debut on #1 in the UK charts. She is basically the UK version of Madonna. Her hit song that was in America. She's crossed over before, but I forgot how. But like I can't really sing it. But it was like la 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 la. Yeah, so it was like I'm sure you've heard it in a fucking Old Navy somewhere. Somebody tried to sing.
Yeah,
somebody tried to shoplift Friday to hum that. We talked about 2 Chainz last single last week. So Help Me God. Are you a 2 Chainz fan, Marquise?
I am, man. I like Chainz, man. He's pretty clever. Like if you really listen,
he's good.
He's like very him and Big Sean are some clever.
I love Big Sean.
Metaphor rappers I appreciate. So I liked it, man. The beat selection was crazy. Some of the vintage beats, I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. So I'm definitely a 2 Chainz. And I love how he put the HBCU band in there. That's right. Not a fan of Wayne much anymore, but like the HBCU band with that old R&B. Was it Guy or Blackstreet? I think it was Guy.
Guy. Oh yeah, the group, the R&B group guy. Yes, but I think that's the same.
Yeah,
thing.
the R&B group. Yeah,
Aaron Guy. That's Teddy Riley's, I think, brother or cousin or something like that. Teddy Riley found Guy.
Yeah, his cousin, I think. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Saddest video of all time. I knew. So yeah, I love Chainz, man. I thought it was a good one, man. It was a good bounce check. So
nice. Me too. I love Titty Boy. He's my man. He's my dog. Another college veteran for us, Jeezy and the Recession Part 2. I enjoyed that as well. Did you listen to the Recession Part 2?
I did. Typically, it takes me like about 2 spins to before I make a good judgment.
I like that. That's good. That's really good, actually. A lot of people don't do that. Some people listen to like one song. They go, I hate the album.
Yeah. Trash. Doesn't sound like. And so yeah, I give it 2. First time through is really like beats, and it's very superficial. Second time through, I'm listening to the lyrics and content. But I thought it was all right. I thought it's a mature album. It's definitely a groaner. I mean, he still talks some trash shit here and there, but more from retrospective than like, I'm still here when we know you're not still there.
Come on, Jeannie Mai, let go of his balls, man. Let's get real Jeezy out there again, man. What the fuck?
So, yeah, it was all right, man. I think I might have liked the last one a little bit better. I forgot the name of the last album, but not bad. Typical Jeezy. I could have did some more bangers, some more Trump bangers, but
I feel you.
I did go back to Thug Motivation 101. Tell them all that.
Oh,
and
so good.
Went stupid in the car the other
day. Go crazy. Classic. Yeah, Trap Star. Amazing album. I love that album.
Which he spelled wrong, by the way. I don't know if a lot of people got that. He says TRAPSTR.
That's right. That's good. That's good. He's got enough A down there. That dude is pretty much like, he pretty much, him, T.I., and who else? They pretty much run the whole drug game down there. So, makes sense. Kylie Uchs, she's featured on Cape Trinata. She's been on a lot of stuff. Are you a fan of Kylie Uchs?
You know what? I only know her from one song that I really rock with. It had Tyler, the Creator, on it.
Nice.
Might have had Thundercat.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. That's a great song.
Yeah, so that's the only time I've heard of her. I did see she dropped this, but I thought it was all in Spanish, so.
It is. And I think she's Filipino, so it makes sense that she knows some Spanish.
Okay. So, yeah, I was like, okay, I didn't know. I thought it was going to be some straight R&B.
So it's Sin Miedo del Amor e Otros, Demonios. So I guess she loves
Love and Other Demons.
Yep. Yes, exactly. Look at that. That's right. New York.
Spanish coming through.
Right. I know. A little bit of Florida Spanish. I like it. Tampa. Benee, she sounds a little bit like Lord. A lot of people that I bring this up to, they don't know who she is, but if you ever want to check her out, she kind of sounds like Billie Eilish as well, but she's like more.
Hey, I like Billie.
Oh, good. Me too. We mentioned her song last week. That was really cool. Her new album, Benee, is Hey UX, if you're going to check that out on Spotify. Chris Stapleton did a feature with, but he's also a really good country artist in his right. He did something with Justin Timberlake. They had that Say Something video. That was an amazing video, and it was on a continuum, so he broke records with that. Meek Mills gave us a surprise EP Quarantine Pack. Did you listen to that, Marquise?
No, I haven't listened to it.
It's pretty fresh.
Because I was still on my easy shit at that point. So I don't like to bounce around. So I do have it. I didn't even know Chris Stapleton dropped it. I like Chris Stapleton too.
Me too.
It's like Tennessee whiskey, Chris Stapleton. But,
nice.
You didn't have me. No, I haven't listened to that.
That's okay.
I have a recommendation for YouTube. Actually, that's why I didn't listen to it. My guy St. John dropped. I love St. John.
Oh, I didn't know. What? Oh, please talk about that. What is this? I didn't know. I saw some singles, but I didn't know that it was an album coming out. And I saw him live.
Yeah,
I saw him live last year. He's great.
Oh, man. I was supposed to see him in Frisco, man, and I didn't drive out there.
He was at Webster Hall. It was so good. And it wasn't even my idea. My friend was like, you want to tag along with me and my wife? And that was nuts, by the way. She got into a fight with these middle school girls. That was nuts. I know. And then he cleared them out with his arm, and I had to it was crazy because if I didn't know him, I would have let him get his ass. And he has daughters himself. So when he did that, I was just like, but then when they started coming at him, I'm like, well, I'm with them. So I'm like, and they're looking at me like, you're defending this guy that just swiped away these 15-year-olds. I'm like, But afterwards, I was like, dude, you're crazy. But anyway, my bad. St. John, he was nuts. He was nuts. He had like his shirt off. He was crowd surfing. He was nuts. He was great.
I saw some footage. My guy went to a show in Miami, man. He sent some cell phone, and it was just crazy. The vibe and it looked like a rock concert, basically. But man, it's When the World Burns, man. It's got Kanye on it. It's got Black on there. It's got
I love Black.
Kehlani's on there. I think the Baby's on the track. Maybe Lil Uzi's on there. Like JID. I love JID.
Me too. He's my favorite Dreamville, other than J. Cole. He's my favorite.
Man, my Boss. I saw Boss live. I love Boss too.
Boss is good too, though. Boss is good.
JID's definitely up.
Boss has a better delivery. JID is a better lyricist. Boss has like a better has a better texture to his voice. JID has the kind of the silly factor, but he's still amazing. I love him.
Yeah, man. Great album, man. Top to bottom, same vibe as some of the older stuff. If you listen, obviously the Roses remix with Future is crazy. Still on there, but.
I want to mention something real quick before we get into the verses. You got my love for Big Crit reignited, actually. Hey. I follow you on Spotify, and I follow you on Instagram. So I've seen you posted before, and I've always liked Big Crit, but for some reason you put it on there, and I became even more of a fan, man. So I just want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for that. Brandon got me onto more Nipsey Hussle. I knew who he was, and I heard some songs. But when he told me that, when he made that proclamation on Facebook, and big shout out to him and his album, Son of the Struggle. And you did a great job with the interview, by the way, with him.
Hey, a lot of that's to you, man. I told you I was listening to your shit, man, trying to figure out how to do this shit.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. No worries. Definitely. So I love your taste in music. And especially that you're from the South and you're from that area and stuff like that. So you get a lot more of it than I do. So I rely on you to give me that kind of flavor. And Big Crit, man, no homo. He's in my shower all the time.
Yeah.
Because of you.
That's super dope to hear, man. I was literally just talking to somebody. I remember years ago, me and you were talking, and for those who don't know, we have a extensive history, but I remember when we were talking about UGK, and I was surprised that Bun and Pimp C were such huge influences in New York, because I feel like there's just a steel curtain, when it comes to music from the South and from the North. How I discovered Jay-Z? I discovered Jay-Z through Drew.
UGK? Oh, for Drew. Oh, yeah, from the song as Carter.
Yeah, Snoopy Trap.
That's right, Volume 3. But that's where UGK came in too, though. They were on that album.
Yeah, and so otherwise, I didn't know shit about. I wasn't listening. I was listening to Biggie, and that was it. That was it. That's all I knew. And so
that's all you needed.
Even now, I was 3 6 Mafia. It was South or nothing.
3 6 Mafia is because of you guys, because of the pub. 3 6 Mafia for me. That was definitely because of Hustle and Flow and all that good stuff. I knew about them. I knew about Project Pat. I knew about Project Pat and all that, but again, with the Hustle and Flow, that really put them over the top. That gave them a lot of.
You'll be happy to know, Crit actually just dropped. I don't know if you ever heard of Toby, Houston rapper, blowing up.
No, I haven't.
So yeah, man, they have an amazing. He's a Houston rapper, but you probably seen him actually. So he always had mint, it's mint colored rooms. He's got his wife with him, his baby, and then another lady that they rock with. And they've just been having these living room sets all COVID long. He's been doing these living room sets. TOBE, he's Nigerian, I want to say.
Oh, watch it.
And so Dave Chappelle just invited him to his.
Oh, hell yeah, definitely got to. He's a great
Ohio
person.
Shit. So, but yeah, him and if you go to Big Crit's page today, they just dropped their video today.
Oh, good.
That's true. So you'll get a taste of it.
Bring on new stuff for us, man. I love it. And you brought St. John. Thank you so much. You watched the versus battle between Jeezy and Gucci Mane.
Yeah, man. Took me back, man. Felt like college all over again, man.
So, who won?
I was Jeezy. I was biased.
Same.
Indiana, actually, not even all. Indiana State. So when I left DePaul, I went to Indiana State for grad school. Mm-hmm. And Indiana State is probably the most HBCU you're going to get. Ain't no problem about it. It is the HBCU.
That's crazy. I did not know they were HBCU. I should have known.
They're not.
They're not. They're not.
No, my bad. But it's where all the black people go. But the majority of black people go.
Do they participate in Circle City? The one we used to go to, the
Circle City Classic? Well, the majority of Indiana State, I don't say the majority. It's only 10%, 11% black. But even that is a huge. I mean, you look at the poll, we were less than
less than 10%. Yeah, I was going to say it was bad.
So a lot of black people do go, especially from Indiana or Indianapolis, Fort Wayne. I mean, from all over they go to Indiana State. So they actually introduced me to Gucci. So that 38th Street side of Indianapolis and East Side Nap and all that. So that was my introduction to Gucci in college from there. But I was a Jeezy fan. The bangers he went through, man, were just it hit after hit after hit, and he just didn't miss. And so he didn't even really touch on everything. So it definitely started out, Gucci it started out with the diss tracks, so this was, I don't watch all the verses. It depends on who it is.
Yes.
I might have maybe watched 3, you know what I'm saying? And so, I've never seen 2 people that clash. Jeezy was just very well composed. I mean, he's the one apparently that pitched it to Gucci. It was supposed to be Jeezy.
He's a big businessman right now, Jeezy, actually. And so is Gucci. But, Jeezy is a lot more refined now. And I think he's on television, too, now. So, he just really...
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he's trying to, refine his...
He's got his brand cleaned up, dude. He's needing Biden now, man. He's getting the
show. Right? I know. Did they bring up the beef at all? Did they bring up the burying?
From the opening, Gucci. The first 15 minutes, every track that Gucci played was a diss track to Jeezy.
And those are his 5-minute songs, too, to be honest.
Yeah, it was like, go pick up your homeboy. I'm smoking on, whoever. And again, I had to go read up on the beefs, and it kind of had a fissure online. And a lot of it went over my head. So there's a moment where Gucci's like, hey, man, my outfit is $10 million. Let's have a jewelry battle. Fuck all this music. Let's have a jewelry battle. I got on $10K or $10 million worth of jewelry, and his outfit was $10,000. And then Jeezy's like, I own half of Atlanta. Let's talk about some real estate.
That's true. He does. He really does.
So those comments brought up a lot more after the fact. And so that was when he said that was a hidden jab at Jeezy. I guess to people like me that didn't know the beef, at the time, I guess when Jeezy was supposed to go get Gucci, to grab his chain from him, and it cost $10,000 or whatever. So that was a subliminal jab, and so the entire night until the very end.
Should have watched it, damn it. Should have watched it. I love pettiness, love it.
They ended on So Icy. They was like, hey, man, we can perform this.
And that's where the beef started. That's where the beef started, from the So Icy video. That's where it started. That's so amazing. That was so well played. I love it.
It ended. He accepted the olive branch. But
who did?
I posted once. He was like, I'm going to get all my diss tracks out one time. And it was very real. He was like, hey, man, because Jeezy was doing a lot of talking. He was very mature and handling shit just I'm not fazed by any of these. And Gucci was that energy was pointed.
He's there to entertain. I get it. And Gucci, man, he's not somebody, he has hits, but they're not Jeezy's been on, top 100 and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. They're not the same. So I would have did the same thing, to be honest. If I know I'm not going to win, let's get all the diss tracks out. What's the point? You know what I'm saying? And
it was quite the show, man.
For those that don't know. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no. Oh, no. I was going to say it was just good to see, considering everything that's going on in the rap game, violent-wise and street-wise, at the end of it all, it was just good to see, all right, if these 2 people can allegedly, so they said, put their beef to the side after 15 years.
A ceasefire, at least.
Yeah. Something that maybe could resonate down the trenches. So, but.
For those that don't know, the beef between Jeezy and Gucci Man, like I said, shout out to my man, Master Paul. We used to work together at Puffco. He's this tall white guy that sells weed. And from California, from San Francisco. Well, he's from Long Island, but he lived in San Francisco. You wouldn't think that I would get all my trap news, but he gave me all my trap news. He would tell me about Young Dolph. He would tell me all these people. I had no idea who they were until he told me.
Dolph.
I know. I thank him, to be honest. T Grizzly, I didn't know who was before he told me. I didn't know any of these people. I was like, nice, Paul, great. So then he's talking about Jeezy and Gucci Mane, and Gucci Mane's one of his favorites. So he was always talking about Gucci Mane. And one day he starts talking about Jeezy and the whole beef, and I'm like, what? He buried 2 of his friends? That can't be real. And this is way before this Verzuz. This was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I had to look it up. And he goes, yeah, look it up. I'm dead serious. Look it up. So Jeezy, after the Icy video, him and Gucci Mane, they got into a beef over like, you know, chain and jewelry, that there's something wasn't given back and disrespect was thrown in the video, after the video, the cameo. And then, supposedly Jeezy sent out a hit on Gucci Mane and with two people that were supposed to be strippers or prostitutes or strippers, and Gucci Mane, I guess, like got wind and had two guns on him, and there were two henchmen behind these strippers. They tried to zero in on him, and Gucci Mane was ready. So he shot them. Got into a shootout. He was even on the Breakfast Club describing the situation too. They even have a video of him describing the shootout. He was like, I went like this. I went bang, bang, bang. I went bang, bang, bang. And I was like, oh my God. It was great. It wasn't like
Soulja Boy, right? The Soulja Boy was like,
oh, he did the same thing. It was pretty much the same thing. You're right. I saw Soulja Boy do the same thing. So then he buried them. And that's not even the most impressive part. He told the cops about it. When the cops asked him about it, he was like, yeah, I buried them over there. It was self-defense. So he went through a whole trial. And he got away with it. And then on top of that, like Marquise said, he goes everywhere and he tells everybody about it. And he doesn't just brag about it. He brags about it to Jeezy's face. He goes, yo, unbury. Go dig up your old boy.
Yeah. He said it again on the Verzuz, and it was just, man, you hear the internet, you can see the comments on Instagram, and everybody was just like
wild,
because from what I hear, like even DJ Drama, and a couple other folks, like nobody thought it was real, because again, it was supposed to be Jeezy and T.I. And so last minute it switched to Gucci, and so yeah, and so even T.I. in the comments was like, no, I actually pushed for this. Like, I wanted this to happen. Also, like, let's bring Atlanta together.
Yeah, sure.
And so, man, the moment was so crazy. The Verzuz was so crazy. I think they had 1.8 million viewers.
Is that the most?
I don't know if that's the most, but I would imagine so. As crazy as it was, I would imagine, because all the other ones are pretty peaceful. I heard Brandy and Monica's was kind of petty, or maybe they hoped for it to be petty and it wasn't, but.
And they've had DMX and
that one.
DMX and Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
he was all drunk.
He was drunk as hell. He was drunk.
Babyface and Teddy Riley, I believe. Is that what was that? No, it was.
Yeah, I think that one fucked up. Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not the hugest fan, but I know that it's trending. I know a lot of people watch. I know you watched it, so I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, The Dream. Yeah, they had a few that I always. People I fuck with, I watch. Yeah.
Falsetto.
But the fault lies in all of you. You.
What the fuck did I watch?
All right, we're back with what we watched on television and movies. Let's see if. There's a movie that Marquise saw already, but we'll get to that real quick. So, The Undoing. That is David E. Kelly's new show with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. Have you seen it at all, Marquise?
I haven't even heard of this show.
Oh, it's all good. I got it.
Is it on HBO?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so good.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to tell you the whole thing, but it's these upper class people in Manhattan. They live in the Upper East Side pretty much. They're these big time elitists. One is a psychologist and one is a oncologist. Hugh Grant is the oncologist. They get in, a murder happens within the school. One of the parents is murdered, and there's a whole bunch of breadcrumbs that lead to both of them. And it's nuts. It's a really good show. David E. Kelly has become like the new Grisham, the new John Grisham. He did Boston Public. He did Ally McBeal. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's a TV legend. And now with HBO, he's done the one with Nicole Kidman before that. That was Big Little Lies, I believe. That was Big Little Lies. So the tandem is amazing. The Undoing, I definitely recommend it. It's one of my favorite shows. I barely watch things weekly, but I watch that weekly. I didn't see the movie The Current War, which is pretty much the same thing right now. That is Thomas Edison versus Nikola Tesla, the two electrical engineers, the big icons. So I saw the one with Ethan Hawke this weekend. It was pretty good. It was a little cheesy. Bono's daughter's in it. I always forget her name. She's very pretty. She was on the Nick. So let's get into the movie that you saw with Janelle Monáe, Antebellum. How did you think about it? What did you think?
I do want to say Ethan Hawke. I did see that he's playing John Brown on this Showtime series.
Is it John Brown or John Bird or something? John Bird.
thought it was John Brown. I've only watched like 10 minutes of it, and it was kind of kooky, and I was like,
oh no, it gets good reviews, so you should try to check it out again. I haven't seen it yet, but he's a man. He's awesome. I love. Tesla. He played a good Tesla.
I haven't seen Tesla since my magician movie with
that was great.
Prestige. That was the Prestige.
Oh, David Bowie. That's a classic.
Yeah. Damn, that was David Bowie.
Yeah, motherfucker. The one when he was trying to get financed, he was just like, yeah. When Hugh Grant went to go get financed, that was him.
Oh, Hugh Jackman, yeah, with all the cats and shit in the hats. Cats in the hats everywhere.
Yeah, well, I already knew that, but I went to David Bowie's exhibit in Chicago and in New York, and they display all his movies, so they show all his cameos, and they showed that, obviously. David Bowie's the man. Yeah, that is.
Antebellum, man. I like the creativity behind the originality of like trying to be in a world of remakes and retakes and rehashes. This was at least an attempt at an original story.
Okay, yeah.
And a unique one. I thought it was a horror movie, so I bummed myself out on that. I thought it was like a horror, or at least a scary flick. So once I realized it wasn't, but I guess I can put myself in the fact that if I'm ever kidnapped like that, I guess it would be a horror movie. So it was all right. Out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it like a 3. I like Janelle Monáe, so I think she's an amazing actress. I don't know shit about her, but I just like her vibe.
You don't listen to her music?
I haven't. I can't.
Oh, it's really good. It's really good. You should check it out one day. She's actually a better musician than she is an actress, but she's a really good actress too. Hidden Figures. She was in. There was another slavery type movie where she was like helping someone else. Like, oh yeah, Harry Tubman. She was in Tubman. That was very good.
Yeah, I skipped that one too.
Oh, it was good. It was good. You should see it at least for Cynthia Erivo's performance. The one that was in. She's in a lot of stuff, but she's amazing. She won a Tony too. She's awesome. But anyway, heavily recommended. Jenna Malone from Sucker Punch is in it. Gabrielle Sidibe from Lee Daniels' movie Precious. Kiersey Clemens, Eric Lang from what's that West show that was on? Anyway, whatever, not a big deal. And that's it for Jack Houston from Boardwalk Empire. He's also on the new Fargo season. He was the guy with his face half on.
He's one of the greatest TV characters of all time.
He really is. He plays everything. He plays anything.
I didn't even realize that. Oh shit, man! I didn't even realize he was half-face guy.
Yeah, that was great. He was awesome. He's a good actor. But I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it, but I liked it better than I thought I would. I thought that it was going to be like some sci-fi. I didn't know what it was going to be. And I'm not going to lie. It went lower down my queue each time, even though I love Janelle Monáe. And I still haven't seen The Homecoming. I haven't seen that with Julia Roberts, and she's on the second season. I love Janelle Monáe. I love her music.
The ending was a bit cheesy. The slow-mo shit. And I was like,
yeah. Spoil it.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but I was just like, this is kind of cringe. But I thought it was worth a one-time. I wouldn't pay. I didn't pay for it, and I'm not watching it. I didn't pay for it. Shout out to Fire Stick, but and I hate to take away from black actors, but I would have paid for it if it were good. I'll go back around the second time, but
sure.
And the other reason I was super hype on it, and it kind of let me down, was there's a book called Kindred.
Okay.
It was written in the late 70s, and it's the exact same premise. However, it's known as like the first black sci-fi, like the first sci-fi book for black people.
Oh, see, I knew it. Even the way they marketed it. Shit, I knew there was going to be some sci-fi.
And so, it's like a chick. She's from modern day LA. And so hers is more of like time travel. So while this Antebellum was, fine, hers is like she ends up back in like the 1700s.
Like what's his name? John Carter, kind of like that, like where he went from.
That far. Similar, that. So the book's Kindred. So I figured it was like, oh shit, it's Kindred. It's supposed to be based on. So it was a huge book. It was very successful. It's downstairs in my bathroom, but I can't even.
And you have a great book collection. You're a
I don't read them. I was buying.
I just buy them. You're like my dad. You likes But anyway, Antebellum is like 12 Years a Slave, kind of. She is I believe she's a psychologist as well. And she does like book tours and stuff like that. So people in her real life, from a dream that she had, she was in a slavery dream, quote unquote, air quotes. I love it. But she's in this dream, so she thinks, and she gets dragged back to that dream. So we think, and it's a plantation. It's a plantation, and again, we have to figure out if it's a real plantation. Someone's like either like reenacting this, or she's stuck in a dream. You get to find that out in the movie. It's very good. Well, it's not very good, but it's good enough. It's good. It's good enough. Like
good enough.
She definitely gets kidnapped. So Unhinged, holy shit, that movie was good. That was good. It's not for everybody. Yo, you have blinded me with that bling. I love it, bro. You're like Manny Ramirez over here. Like, I love it. But anyway, Unhinged is with Russell Crowe. Let's see. I don't know who the other actors are, but we could check that out real quick. But Unhinged, like I said, Russell Crowe, right at the beginning of the movie, offs his wife, offs his ex-wife. He's in the car. He has a tub of gas. I mean, a thing of gasoline, and he knocks on the door. He murks whoever the lover is right at the door. Then murks her, and then he's like in the street, like he's like at a traffic stop, and there's this woman. She's having a bad day, like from her divorce. And they meet up at the traffic stop, and he wouldn't move. So she like flips him off, and then she comes up to his window and she's like, blah, blah, blah. So he like asks her to apologize, and she won't. And he's like, well, now I'm going to show you you're having a bad day. She's like, yeah, man. It's like, well, now I'm going to show you what a bad day is. And you're going to know what a bad day is. And he was not kidding. It's called Unhinged. He was not kidding. You
hyped this up enough for me to.
He made it a point to make her life fucking hell. As soon as she dropped off the little motherfucker, like her son, that dude was following her, and he was killing everybody just to get to her. It was like Michael Myers. It was just like, and he didn't care. He was killing people in broad daylight. He was like, yo, the cops can come and get me, but I'm getting you first. I'm like, oh my God. It was crazy.
Moral of the story is to fucking apologize in life.
Right?
Okay, it's not that hard, people. It's not that hard, people, to say, I'm sorry when you're fucked up, when you're wrong, man. Moral of the story.
Yeah, even in the intro, they showed, which I should have known how the movie was going to go, because I knew nothing about the movie. I just downloaded it. I knew nothing about it. But even in the beginning, the beginning credits, they show a bunch of people melting down in real life, like just real footage of people just snapping. And that's what Unhinged means. Like, it just means that, like, he's just unfettered. He's done. He's nothing you can do now.
Sounds like that old Michael Douglas movie. What was it, Falling Down?
Oh, that was a good movie. Yeah, that was a good movie. I know what you're talking about.
You know, he's just in L.A. sweating his ass off in traffic and just starts killing, just loses it.
So the woman that's running away from him, her name is Karen Pistorius, and then the child is named Gabriel Bateman, and that's about it. That is pretty famous on the credit list. Let's move on. We have The Craft Legacy. So Keith was being very generous with his stars. I'm going to be real about this one. The Craft Legacy is 0 stars. It's like, holy shit, it was bad. It was bad. And it sucks because I love Zora from Greenleaf. I love her. Let's find out her name, actually. The Craft Legacy, which I thought was going to be a reboot, and it's from Blumhouse.
Hey, Blumhouse is killing, man.
They are, and they're not all that good, the movies. But like you said, they're bringing them out in volume, and so they're trying to take over the horror game, even if it's cheesy. Yeah, because Black Box was more like Black Mirror. So, and people, to me, that used to be sci-fi Black Mirror type stuff, like Twilight Zone. But now people categorize that in like weird horror. So that's okay. Get Out kind of muddied it. I get it. I understand. Actually, on here, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 47%. They were being really nice. So Kaylee Sepney is, I don't even know who these people are. I think I do know who that is. But anyway, Fairuza Balk, she's in the original Craft. She shows up at the end, and she's one of their mothers. But anyway, it's a piece of shit. They just find out about their powers. They put a love spell on this dude, and shit goes haywire. Like, things that are not supposed to happen. But it's like rated like PG though, pretty much. Like, yeah, there's some like sexual situations and shit like that. There's a part where there's a condom and they don't even show the condom. Like they just show it like off screen. She's just like this. And I'm like, The Craft did all types of shit, and now you just watered it down to this? No thanks. So I'm surprised I even finished that shit. So back to
I see David Duchovny's in it, and I'm looking at this list, and I've never heard of him.
Oh yeah, he's the bad guy. He's the warlock. He was pretty good actually, but he's always good. I love David Duchovny. He's the man. So, did you see the original Craft?
Absolutely not. 95, I'm looking at, or 96.
It was so good. Neve Campbell, classic.
I like Neve Campbell. I remember them Cruel Intentions and and
I'm bugging. There's another one from the first one too. Michelle Monaghan. She's actually So there's two people from the original. But yes, did you see? You didn't see the Craft? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I had never even. Man, I was like 10 at that point. I don't even remember seeing it even after that. So I've always heard of it. I just didn't know what it was. So back then,
I feel you, man. Well, it only made so it was a low budget film. It only $15 million to make, but it blew up, man. It got $55 million in the box office. So that's pretty good if you make a $15 million movie. Like I said, I have to watch it again. By the way, I loved it so much, and I haven't watched it so long. Farouza Balk, she's the main witch. That she's also in Legacy. Then we got Robin Tunney. Then we got Neve Campbell and Rachel True from freaking Half Baked. Oh, so hot, and she's so hot even to this day. Oh my god! Like I said, classic movie. Terrible Sequel. Terrible.
And you sat through all 1 hour and 37 minutes.
Oh, my God. Oh, it felt longer. The Crown 4, the best season of The Crown. The first two seasons cover Claire Foy, Queen Elizabeth II, and then the third season really dropped off. It had Olivia Colman, who's a great actress. Love her. Prince Philip is still awesome. They introduced Charles. They introduced Princess Anne. And then this new season, they bring on Prince Edward, Prince Andrew, the one that was married to Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, and Princess Diana. That's the highlight of this season, and it is going off. It's amazing. You can skip the third season. Actually, you can skip all the seasons if you want. It's still a great show. But if you really want to get to the time where you were alive, most of my viewers are pretty much millennials, you got to watch season 4. It's so good. But what I wanted to talk to you about is, like I said, and we're going to get into the what did I say, the interview, and we get to talk about all the things that you're a part of, but give a little sneak preview. You curate and you created a Facebook page, not a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and a Spotify podcast, and a book, George Floyd, the years that we got up to the events of George Floyd, that's on Amazon. So I want to ask you, because I feel like you are an expert in this area. You cover it. You research it. You disseminate it. You curate it. I consider you an expert. I know you don't. I know you're humble like that. So have you seen The Crown this season, or do you watch it at all?
No. I know what you're talking about because it's in my queue. But that has nothing to do with Crown. That's because I'm terrible at watching TV shows.
Yeah, that's okay.
And so, I've heard it's amazing. But I know I haven't. It's in the queue, though, along with 30 other things. So.
Okay, cool. So there's an episode, I believe, episode 8 or 9. And the Queen, just like the Ayatollah in Iran, a lot of places don't have a monarchy anymore. So they do have that. They have just like a supreme ruler. So the same thing in England. And I'm not explaining this to you. I'm explaining it to some dumb viewers out there. Not all of you that dumb, though. Not all of you. Anyway, so the Queen has no legal authority. You know this. She has no nothing. The Prime Minister, who is Margaret Thatcher in this season, they don't give the Emmy to Gillian Anderson, the one who played Scully from X-Files. She's amazing. She plays the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister.
Oh, shit.
Yes, she's fucking fantastic. I forget that it's Gillian Anderson. She's so good. She is Margaret Thatcher pretty much. And so she has a standoff with Queen Elizabeth because she actually is the head of state. And then obviously the symbolic head of state is Queen Elizabeth. So Queen Elizabeth had this long-standing rule not to get involved with the politics. Obviously, she would have meetings with these prime ministers, including Winston Churchill and everybody that was under her reign, Dave Cameron, Tony Blair, the list goes on. But this particular stance, she actually was against the apartheid. And so was all the other countries on the Commonwealth. It was 48-1, actually. And Margaret Thatcher represented England, and she said no. She also had interest down there, by the way. They show that in the show. She had a son that was involved with business down in South Africa. But basically, Queen Elizabeth leaked to the papers for the first time in history that she had a rift with a prime minister because the prime minister would not bring sanctions onto South Africa to rid of the apartheid. And once the sanctions came about, obviously the apartheid started crumbling, and then we had their first black president, Nelson Mandela. And even Mandela, when you asked him what helped bring the apartheid down, he mentions the sanctions. He's like, you crippled your economy. Like, they couldn't do anything without money, so we have to attribute it to that. So Margaret Thatcher looked really bad in that. So what do you think? And again, and it's not just England. Reagan was one of the last people. The U.S. were one of the last people to to stop supporting the apartheid. Coca-Cola had to have a protest. People had to protest. Georgia didn't even like Coca-Cola products because of that, they were supporting the apartheid. Mm-hmm. So, with your knowledge on your beautiful page, I love your page, your knowledge with the apartheid, how do you feel about that, man? How do you feel about Queen Elizabeth actually standing up for South Africans?
Surprising. I was given. I guess I will say that, and even a little bit I do know about the apartheid and really trying to get through the bit I've read. Nelson Mandela's book is fucking.
He's the man.
It's huge, but
some Republicans who still call him a terrorist. Like some Republican conservatives, I'll mention him, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's a terrorist."
Yeah,
keep going. My bad.
Everything is relative and subjective these days. Apparently, but I'm very surprised. Just looking at like the history of European countries, period, and the business they've had in Africa. So it's pretty interesting that typically I have an idea of like when old people carry these mentalities throughout them. That's why I hate like old people in the government now. Because I'm like, you were still around in the 60s and 50s and you thought this way.
Yes.
And so to hear that the Queen was actually on the right side of a moment is surprising is the only way I could say it. So I've actually so the series I just ran on the Black History page the other day, like on like learning what people like everybody just chimed in on like how they grew up with their histories. And so there were some people that were from the UK that chimed in and they were saying, hey, we never learned shit about the imperialism that we and all the
that they created.
Yeah, and everything that they, fucked up, and especially in Africa. And so I'm automatically like, all right, that makes sense. Like we don't know the American shit, and I would accept that you, like, who wants to talk about that? Hey, guys, we conquered like half the world. And so, yeah, we did. Yeah, we fucked
humble brag.
But, so yeah, completely, hugely surprising. But when you look down in these countries, and largely I focus on the U.S. and I know we'll get into it a bit, but like the bit I do know about Africa and the histories, the systems that they in place were like geniusly evil, for their benefit, right?
Absolutely.
For the colonized benefit. So hearing that she was on the good side is hugely like,
And guess which side this administration was on?
Oh yeah. Keep that shit.
So at the same time that Trump and Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon were banning Muslim countries like Sudan, Syria, basically all brown countries.
All brown, yep.
Exactly. And who was he trying to give refuge to? So I don't know if you know about this, but South Africa just started.
Oh, the Afrikaans.
Yes, they started
land redistribution.
Exactly.
Right?
They started taking. So basically, if let's say that Palestine, all of a sudden they recognized all the Palestinian territories that they had been occupying. They came up with an agreement. This is the date you're evicted, motherfucker. Like, we won this shit. So back to a place that actually did defeat the apartheid, South Africa. These farmers their farm was taken over by these white guys, these imperialists, these colonizers. They came onto their land and they said, yo, you got a certain amount of years now. You can live on this farm, but we're taking it back. They gave them a grace period, which I thought was like really nice. And they took it back. So the Trump administration gave open arms. They were like, no, you're refugees. That's so wrong that they're kicking you off your land. You can come to America.
Yeah. And that's the why. And I know there's a huge part of our society, especially, that's like, oh, that's fucked up. You can't take somebody's land and house. But I'm like, there's a history that goes behind how they acquired it. Like,
absolutely.
So when we can't, and so that's for me, like, the history is the most. I think I just saw a headline or a thing the other day of like one of Britain's like great museums is like 80% theft. You know, upwards of over 80.
Oh yeah, most museums.
And yeah, most museums are, but they were just they were finally acknowledging that fact of how much shit that they had, you know, is from the colonization and imperialistic era. And so
absolutely.
I don't even comment on a lot of the pages, but I think it's like, it was a history page, like maybe History Cool Kids or something. And it was like, hey, Killmonger said it first. Killmonger tried to tell y'all.
Yeah, we need more of those. We need more Killmongers. Because, to be honest, man, I love Europeans and I love European art. I love what they've contributed to the world. But it's a small fraction to what brown people over the world have done. And brown colonies and ancient civilizations, even in Central America, South America, Africa, all these, the Aboriginals in Australia, they're everywhere. Huge. Everywhere. Yes.
I just read this morning, I didn't know the Iroquois natives invented lacrosse.
They did. And, we've talked about it before on the show. Yeah. People in the Middle East, Iraq, they came up with the abacus. They came up with syringe needles. Basically, science was found in the Middle East. And then we always have the audacity to whitewash everything, to make it seem like only one shade of skin color created everything. And and that's why we have to give thanks to pages like yours, which we're going to get to right now.
Oh my God, what is that?
What the fuck did I say?
Again, this is Big Keith. I got a few questions for him. Right now, we're going to get into Black Ourstory. We're going to continue what we were talking about before. He curates a page. He created a page, which now has over 41,000 followers. Shout out to that. I did like a brief consultation with him. I can't take full credit for that, but I definitely am so happy. I was like, I know, now I'm going to put it on my resume. I'm going to be like this.
Chill.
And now you got me going like, now I got to start charging motherfuckers. I got to be like, yo, this motherfucker just blew up.
Gone up.
Fucked up. No, it's great. It's a fantastic page. I follow it religiously. It's so great. You touch on things. So like basically people have been talking about Tulsa for a while. You talked about it before Watchmen, and you talked about it before Lovecraft Country, one of my favorite shows. And now I think I saw this comedian. I think I forgot who it was. And he was just like, oh, no, it was one of my friends. He was like, I love that white people know about Tulsa now. But now I got a little bit of Tulsa fatigue. I'm proud of white America. I'm happy for y'all. But could we yeah, exactly. You know, Trump now knows about it. Like, it's kind of like if you're like a teenager and you're like, oh, wait, right, I love this artist. Like, and dad goes, yeah, that's my favorite artist too. No, never mind. It's not that cool anymore. It's like, so anyway, please tell us how you came, you have a podcast about it now. Tell us how this all came to be. Tell us the story of Black Ourstory.
Last year, this was a complete accident. And I was literally just talking to my guy, KC, who runs the bodega, the candy bodega. And I was telling him the other day, I was like, because he was like, bro, could you imagine here we are a year later and like you're successful in Black history and I'm successful in candy. He's like, could you imagine that we're here? And I was like, no, this isn't what I want. Like, I didn't want this, Scott. This isn't this. I was happy with the 100 people we were just, it was just cool back then. So, but it started with John Singleton, man, the late and great John Singleton, man. And when he died, this is somebody I didn't know. I guess that's how you know the impact of people, because it's not like I followed John Singleton. I didn't listen to him religiously I just knew his craft. I knew his work. I knew his stories.
You watched Snowfall? I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh, my God, amazing. Oh. I don't know where the fuck this next season is. I've been waiting.
Franklin, that's my dog.
He's an amazing. Matter of fact, the scene where he's like, he tells what's the name to pull over, and he's like, "Cause you like that scene made me watch the show."
When his girl became the crackhead, I almost cried.
Man,
almost cried.
The uncle, everything about the show is
the perfect show, man. It's so good. It's flawless.
I need the next season to drop, man. But
so R.I.P. to John Singleton, and yes, you did start off with that, and he had heart vascular problems. We actually did a video on that when I worked at Brute. They did something about the barbershop that checks your blood pressure, and it was an inspiration because of what happened to John Singleton, because a lot of black health, a lot of black wellness concentrates on, again, there's a lot of high blood pressure, all that good stuff. So you got to check that out early. But get back to your inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Health and wealth, man. Health and fucking wealth, especially if you're an African American man.
Yes.
But recipes to Chadwick too.
They're doing an investigation on 3 hospitals because of a lot of black people dying pretty much from this COVID, and
a lot of that. And you'd be a lot of that, man. People would be surprised how much that's tied into history, man. I was even in New Orleans, like there's a neighborhood in New Orleans where the amount of black people that live there are dying exponentially more due to COVID, or they're being infected exponentially more.
All across the United States.
Yeah, and even across the United States, but and this particular one is because like historically they were gentrified into this neighborhood. They were forced into this area, which was by like a gas plant that they were building on the roof. So the gas plant has been making this shit or whatever they were making forever, and then that got into lungs over time, which now you maximize with COVID. And so this particular neighborhood, based on, they tied it all the way back to post-slavery days, and so. But regardless of that, and for me, it's because of things like that, these situations where I was like, I didn't know John Singleton from shit. And I was like, who's gonna tell these stories now? Like we still got Spike, thankfully I got it, but and we got Jordan Peele now, but he's doing it in his own way. We got the great Steve McQueen.
Right, Baby Boy Part 2.
What more do you
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to I'm joking. Keep going.
I hope it's not like Belly 2, but if
Oh, no. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was really good.
Steve McQueen. I just watched Queen and Slim last week. Finally.
That was incredible. Very slept on. Dude, it should have got nominated for some stuff, man. I think it did get nominated for screenplay, but that's about it.
I hope so. Lena Waithe. Lena Waithe is great.
She's great.
You know what I'm saying? I found out about her from my boy Aziz Ansari's show, Master of None.
But I still watch all her stuff. I'm a big fan. But the way she handled The Chi, the way she handled Jason Mitchell, the guy that played Eazy-E, she heard sexual harassment claims and she didn't do anything about it until the last minute. So
really.
I'm not going to cancel my homegirl Lena Waithe, but I did not like that. She is the shit. She's one of my favorites.
It goes back to that conversation we had earlier. Full circle. Like, it's been happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So even a woman in power, you know what I'm saying? Like, stuff happens. And I'm not saying, like, she should be more perfect than anybody else, being in her stature, being someone very relatively new to the Hollywood scene. So I'm going to give her a pass, but that was not cool, man, because, like, the woman that was on set said that, like, she was so threatened by Jason Mitchell, and he had gotten in trouble before The Chi, and she had to bring her boyfriend on set because she was so uncomfortable. So Lena Waithe is one of the producers and creators of the show. She needs to get a handle on that. But anyway, back to you. Yes, Queen and Slim.
It's and so that narrative of, like, the one that black and brown stories are not a monolith, and so we have such difference, but how all of our present circumstances combined can be traced all the way back to our history to explain certain things. And I was just curious. I'm an intel analyst in the military and for my job, and so I tell people all the time I'm not a historian. Like, I'm learning just as much as I'm typing this shit. Like, I don't know these stories that I post every day. I'm learning them as I'm putting them together, which is part of the reason why it takes me so long per post.
What's your graduate degree in? What's your
criminology, bro? My master's, my master's in criminology because I always knew I wanted to do intel. So that's right. Shit around,
and we salute you for your service, sir. We salute you for your service, a veteran in the game.
I appreciate that, but I needed to make sense of the world. The George Floyd, from slavery to George Floyd.
Oh, please mention that real quick. Mention that book. It's tied into the podcast. It's actually the first post on your Black Ourstory. Please get into the book, which was a huge success on Amazon. It blew up. And so I was actually working on that 2.5 years ago, before this page. So please tell us the title. Sorry, I didn't tell the whole title.
It's called The List from Slavery to George Floyd. It's an ebook right now. But
get it on Amazon. Please get it on Amazon.
It's only $5, but you're the first person I think I'm announcing to that I'm actually going to drop the book, like a hard. I want people to be able to have something.
Yeah, dope.
And so, it was like, so that was inspired by, coincidentally enough, Kaepernick. And so when the Kaepernick protests were going on and when he was taking the knee and everything, and I would see, and back then I was hugely on Facebook at that point, not anymore, but
oh yeah,
I was
thank God there's no 150 characters on Facebook. Holy shit.
Yeah. Man, and I was seeing the comments of people, comments in America, like either purposefully or ignorantly not wanting to understand why Kaepernick was taking his knee, right? Even after, like, hey, a military guy,
Green Beret guy, yep.
The Green Beret, asked him to take a knee, and I've been a part of a few military funerals, unfortunately, and the knee is symbolic. So you hand the flag to the wife or the mother. You take the knee in front of them. The soldier takes the knee in front of them and gives them the folded flag after it's been folded at the burial site.
Just like a Kevin Bacon movie. Keep going.
Yeah. And so the narrative that was being spun around, then you fast forward to the Super Bowl with Beyonce and everybody when she did the Black Panther.
That's right. The blackout. That's right.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Black Panther was the KKK and blah, blah, and I've had people reach out to my page.
Mad ignorant when people say that. Mad ignorant.
Yeah. And so those conversations is what led to the list. And I said, all right, man, fuck this. I need to be able to, for myself first, I need to be able to understand. So it started with like, I took the Kaepernick thing. Okay, he did it during the national anthem. All right, let me learn about the national anthem because I don't fucking know about it. Actually, that's probably tomorrow's post is the national anthem.
Nice.
So I was like, I don't know about the national anthem. This was me 2 years ago before any of this Black Ourstory shit. Learned about the national anthem. Oh shit, guy who wrote the national anthem, Francis Scott Key, big time slave owner. Okay. Yeah. And so, let me learn about where it came from, the Battle of Fort McHenry in Maryland. So he's watching this fort get fucking blown up from the ship, wakes up the next morning, and the American flag is still waving. And so, like, the English are fucking up this U.S. fort, and the American flag is still waving. And that's what inspires him to write In Defense of Fort McHenry, which is then changed into, like, a song lyrics and adds the stanzas.
Are you sure you're not a historian? Are you sure? No, I'm joking.
I'm doing, yeah, I'm on. That's awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. And so, a lot of people don't know there's 4 stanzas to that song. We only sing 2. And so the third stanza is the racist part of the stanza where he talks about seeing slaves. So at that time, like, Maryland had a shit ton. We're talking at this point, there's probably like at least over 3 million enslaved people in America.
They still can't make up their mind if they're from the north or the south, Maryland.
Those border states had issues as well. So, and so he's laughing. There's a verse in the third stanza where he basically laughs and jokes at the enslaved people who are trying to escape. So they're taking advantage of the war and the bombs and shit being fucked up. And they're like, yo, this is the time to go right fucking now while nobody's paying attention. And so while those enslaved leave those plantations, they're trying to run up north because they knew if they could get to the British were freeing black people. If you work for us, we'll free you. We'll either take you back to England or we'll free you in our territories. Like fuck that, we're out. Some of them never made it. So some of them were killed in that journey trying to do that. And so the third stanza jokes about those ones that didn't make it, while they're trying to, and it doesn't say it explicitly. It's just historically been proven like that's what this line meant. And so these are the stanzas that we've never sung, we've never been taught. But this is the entirety of the national anthem. And I'm like, okay, so how can I make this understandable to you, saying that this particular song was chosen to take a knee against police brutality, which has been going on since the beginning of time, to this particular diss track to black people. The national anthem is a diss track to black people.
It pretty much is, yeah.
And it's
you don't even need Kate Smith to sing it. Yes.
No, you don't. Or Fort Fergie with the,
I know, right? Doing new octaves we never heard of.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of it, man. And the breadcrumbs continually, and then I just kept going back further because everything just started to connect after that. And so, a year later, it blew up. I knew it was dope. I told my boys before I dropped it, I said, I just dropped the greatest history post of all time. Coincidentally, nobody knows I dropped it 2 years ago on Facebook. So when I was doing all my Facebook rants back in the day, not to this depth, but I definitely I dropped like a miniature version of it. Yeah. And it did make some waves.
A little pilot, a little test.
And I didn't think it would ever come back. I never had use for it, but I told my boys, I was like, I just dropped the greatest shit ever. I don't know what's going to happen.
Shit ever. I love it.
Yeah, I was like, and I said that, and I think like, I don't know, a few hours later, one of the homies came back. I didn't pay attention to it anymore. I just drop and roll. I get out of it. And he was like, bro, this shit's going crazy. And I saw it, and Chance the Rapper said something. And
that was so cool.
Ray Allen posted it on his page. And so, the blue checks are cool. And that, obviously that pushed, a narrative. Nobody knows this. I'm the first time I'm sharing this with you. Oh, obviously my wife and homies know, but you're the first person that knows. So I talked to LeBron James' school.
I promise. That's right.
So I talked to LeBron James' one of the
I thought you'd tell us you got verified. I'm like, finally.
No, I actually tried to. I did try.
I know, I've been rejected myself. I've been rejected myself. They're very hardcore with that shit. LeBron James' school, they have it. I don't know if, but then, COVID and the bubble hit. So it was it was just before the NBA decided that they were going to start back up and get the bubble going. But the idea at that time was like, hey, we'll look it over. Definitely. We're trying to integrate more Black history, especially into, it was like the representative for the LeBron James Foundation. Yeah.
I was in talks with, we had a Zoom call, passed it on to them, and like, hey, we'll keep it. And then we'll see, if we want to go further. But then the NBA season started, and I was like, LeBron's not included.
And now you're on the bubble. Oh, man.
But, man, it was awesome, man. And now I'm just constantly getting people every day that come to the page, man, and they're super appreciative. And I feel blessed. I'm humbled by the fact that I have white people all the time tell me, like, it's not my responsibility to, like, educate you. And I'm like, yeah, but who is? I know it's not my job. It's not my responsibility, but who's at least going to tell you the right one? I'm not going to let Hollywood do it. I'm not going to let, I get you have to go out of your way to learn it, but you got to know where to start. So at least let me give you somewhere to start. Right.
Well, selfishly, I want you to continue because I learn a lot every day when I look at it. I have different emotions when I read it, actually. Sometimes I'm very impressed. Sometimes I'm embarrassed. Sometimes, because I'm just like, how did I not know this? Or sometimes I'm angry because I'm just like, why was this hidden from me? It's not just Tulsa. That's like the tip of the iceberg. There's just so many inventors, people that contributed to society, inventions, I said inventions twice, patents, all types of things that have happened in this country. Like you said, the HSBCU. I know that they talked about it in the Platinum Plan recently, but some people just say it. Some people just go HBCU, and they don't even know who it is. Hampton, Spelman, which I got it wrong. One of the episodes, by the way. I commend you, man. I commend you full force, man. It's such a very vital page, man. It needs to be there. It needs to be.
I hugely appreciate it, man. And you're from, you're New York, and I know I talked to Brandon about. I'm like, bro, you're from Harlem, the bedrock of Black.
It's one of the page. You guys were right. History. It's like a paragraph in history books. It's terrible.
It was amazing to hear how little he, Black history that he had gotten, and I get it's public school, but then even have so many people that hit me up from New York that were like, yo, we learned about this, and this. And I'm like, damn, and I was talking to Brandon last week, and I'm like, bro, this person from New York learned so much more shit than you learned in the same city. And that blew my mind, the differences. And I'm like, I know you went to a magnet school. Was it magnet school?
I went to a charter school. No, I definitely didn't learn a lot of Black history, though. That definitely happened in college. That was with you guys. Going to AAAS and being around. I didn't even go to those classes, but you guys would talk a lot about Dixon File, Aware, all those guys. And I was just around you guys. I was just around you guys a lot. So I absorbed whatever. When you guys went on trips to Africa and stuff like that, it just really fascinated me because I was missing a lot, and I was getting enlightened. I was very ignorant in college and even before that. So when you guys would bring other things, when you would bring the world to my front door, it was very beneficial.
Were y'all getting, New York has such a huge Black history. I just found out Manhattan was Native American, by the way. I didn't know that was a Native American tribe, but one of the first Black,
Seneca
Village, man. Right there in Central Park, man. And I'm just
I learned after college, actually. That's shameful.
And it's like, where are you going to learn it from?
That's what I'm saying. But they tied it all the time. Wall Street was one of the first auctions, auction blocks for slaves. It was right down the street. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The
Statue of Liberty.
It's so embedded. It's so embedded in our history. So it's that's why I'm angry sometimes. I'm like, why are you hiding it? Like, what's going on here? Like, this should happen. This should happen. And I mentioned this before, like in Germany, they have streets named after Holocaust victims. Over here, we have Confederate flags and soldiers. Like, we're like one of the only country that glorifies the loser.
Yeah. Apparently, history is not written by the victor.
Right? Except for when it's on the Civil War. Like, everybody else, right? Fuck the British.
Bro, when I've never been, I'm a Southerner through and through. My first time in the North, I don't count college because that's the Midwest, but like Northeast where y'all are was just 2 years ago Christmas.
I know, man. Incognito, man. I was like, hold up. I'm looking at his store. I'm like, is he in New York?
Bro, I was there for a day and a half. I was in Pittsburgh. My wife had graduated, and then we took a train. My first time ever taking a train. We took a train. I wanted to take a train. I took an Amtrak. So, because we don't have that shit. I mean, there's some shit down here, Greyhound and shit, but we got Meghan South. But I'm like,
probably got a discount too because they just had a crash right around that time, a really big crash.
Shit, I ain't even know, bro. If I would have known, I'd been like, my first time taking a train, I'm looking out the window like a big ass kid, and then when we pulled up in like the whatever station where you get out of Madison Square Gardens, like right there,
Penn Station.
So this is my first time as a grown ass man finally visiting and seeing the North for the first time. And now that I get to see the history and I see the history of these places and how they came about. And so when I went to Harlem, I see like Malcolm X Boulevard. It was my very first time in life seeing Malcolm X on the street.
Douglas Boulevard, all those things, man.
Yeah, all these names. Like there's a Malcolm X Boulevard in Dallas, and I was blown away. I'm like, whoa, that's the first time I've ever seen it in the South. Like, and just to be like, and there may be everywhere, I don't know, but just where I've been, I've never seen it.
Hopefully it's not next to Jerry Jones Boulevard. Hopefully.
No. No, and so it just you guys are so inundated by like Black history, and I'm not saying
inundated. No, we're not. We don't get it even enough at all.
From a Southerner's view.
There's a Langston Hughes library in Queens, and they barely talk about him too, and he's so influential. I learned about W.D. Du Bois when I went to down south to the Civil Rights Museum in Tennessee. I did not know that much about him.
Crazy. So it's like you're coming down here to learn, and I'm going up there to see something someday.
Yeah. We have the Renaissance, and we have because of all the refugees that came from the South, obviously, and you touched on that with the interview with Brandon and through your historical posts. But even with that, even though mad people from slavery, from the antebellum South came to New York, you would think that those stories would be passed down. No, they've been suppressed.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it too is I wonder, and obviously I'm not Hispanic, but I often wonder like. I count. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. I'm joking.
Ambiguous.
I'll represent for Latinx today. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. But I've often heard of their stories, when they migrate here, they get here, but they want their children to be very, like, learn everything you can about America.
Yeah.
That makes sense. In order to be successful, the idea that you need to speak English, the idea that you need to.
Makes sense for the time, at least, yes.
Yeah, integrate yourself and not necessarily forget these stories. Like, we'll keep these traditions in home, but that's where it stops, right?
But you see how hyper people are about patriotism. That makes sense because. Dude, there's people that are willing to kill you for not speaking their language.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just reading a Bell Hooks comment last night that she said patriotism and sameness is put together in this country. And by sameness, I mean like the comment I had from a coworker the other day when he was like, "Oh, we got people that want to come to this country and live and be Americans, and they need to learn English. They need to learn what America means." And I was like, "Bro, America doesn't have a culture. There is no American culture. There's 332 million people here that are so diverse from race, sex, religion. Like, this is a huge place with so much diversity. There is no American culture."
Technically, Spanish. If you had to, you're right. We have no language. As a matter of fact, officially, we don't have a language. It's actually, if you look it up, we do not have official language. The U.S. We're like one of the only countries that does not have an official language. And if you really wanted to get down and dirty, 33% last time I checked, a third of the country is Latino. That means Spanish. It's the number one language. So when you're saying well, get with it. Because at one point there's going to be more people speaking Spanish in this country than anything else. I give it 20 years minimum.
Yeah, I think it was like 2050 or 2060, and I think we're the only people that travel to other places and get mad when they don't speak English. Like, motherfucker, you came here.
I know.
Like, does anybody here speak English? No, just you. But everybody else But everybody else is so other bilingual and trilingual. Like we're the only people that know one language. And it sucked. Like it was like
it's another thing I'm ashamed of. Like how and I just started trying to pick up Spanish again. So I'm at a decent level now. And I'm at a little level with Italian. But you're right. I'm ashamed. I'm from one of the best countries in the world. How the hell am I not trilingual? Like how the hell am I so far behind my other peers in other countries? And you know what's? I'm not even ashamed that we feel like that. I'm ashamed that other people don't feel like that in this country, and that's why it's not prioritized. But whatever.
Yeah.
But let's get on to something that you actually help directly, not just through the history of Black Ourstory. You educate us. You do a fine job of doing that. Let's get on to your other vertical where you help with Project Help. San Antonio, where you first started, and now you help out with Project Help Atlanta. Tell us how you got involved with that. Tell us what you're doing, what the initiatives are, and what you plan to do in the future.
Yeah, man, my Project Help. HELP stands for, it's an acronym, so it stands for Humanity Involved.
Show that shirt.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
right.
yeah. This is the black on yellow, but yeah, it's
beautiful.
It stands for Humanity Evolves from Loving People. Me and my co-founder, Alex, man, shout out to him, man. I had known this guy at the time that we created this. I had known that guy like maybe 4 months. You know, and so in the past few years, I realized that it's not about how long you've known somebody. It's just about the connection and the vibe that you have with somebody, and you can build something dope. And so sat at a restaurant for like 6 hours. It was like, man, we got to do more for the city, blah, blah. And then called each other later on that night, and Project Help became a thing. And we had a house party at my place with like maybe 9 or 10 people. And I'm like, hey, man, we're just going to make
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID. This was last year. And, so we had like 9, 10 folks over, made, I don't even know if we made 100 sandwiches. It might have been 50 sandwiches at that point, man.
You guys do make a lot of sandwiches, and you made me really watch those posts.
Yeah. So went downtown the next day, man. My biggest fear was that, like, I'm like, whenever you're looking for homeless people, you can never find them. And it was my biggest fear, man. And so we didn't really know where they were. So, and when you live in a city, you don't go downtown like tourists do. So I didn't really know the downtown like that. So fast forward a year later, man, and now we have Project Help in Atlanta. My guy, Danny, he runs that. He's from Indianapolis, actually, so he moved to Atlanta. So he runs that, and it's our first sister city. And then we got a couple more cities, people that are interested. So the goal is to, at minimum, I would love to expand this to like 10 more cities, man. We're just people that we love to have a good time. We love to drink. We love to party. I don't want to be anything different. I want to be who we are, but we can still be charitable while we're doing it. You know, I can get people to come over for a house party to drink and vibe. I can get you to make some sandwiches too, and wake up in the next morning and really bless some folks. So it's been beautiful, man. We live on.
Do you usually the people that party? Do they usually help out the next day, or are they just helping with the prep mostly? They definitely both. So the people that come to the parties and the house parties, and they come, and we bring in a DJ. So by Zoom, we were doing it by Zoom. So my DJ taps in on Zoom. And so yeah, they come the next morning too, and we go out and we hit our spots. We've got about 8 spots that we hit, man. We've been doing it so long now. It's where the homeless and less fortunate, they know who we are. So when we pull up, man, it's always love. It's smiles. We talk to them. We've gotten personal with some of them as well. We've gotten some really crazy perspectives on not only life in general, but just on homelessness, and these expectations that we have of like people that are out on these streets and so, but they're more freer than we could ever be, and so, and they're okay with that. There's definitely places in the city that we have that would take them in if they wanted to. And it's not like and they're not even out on the street corners begging. They're just hanging out at parks and just enjoying, I guess, the joy, whatever they're going, whatever it is. And so, and who am I to judge, right? But we've had some moments too, try to give somebody some water, and they're like, no, you don't have no whiskey? No, bro. You got water. Man. That's yeah. All right, I'm good. I don't want it. Gotta appreciate the honesty. On to a little bit of recreational. You are a huge Tampa Bay Bucks fan, and your wife, shout out to her. You guys had a beautiful wedding. I'm a big fan of both of you. And she is a New Orleans Saints fan. Drew Brees out with a fractured rib. Kind of bad timing. Should have broke it during the Tampa Bay game, right?
Yeah, I told her, I was like, terrible fucking timing. But we get divorced twice a year. So
it's true. But each time you end up washing dishes though. So
yeah, man. They
look clean though too, man. You were pretty pissed. You can see the reflection on that from the story. Actually, you can see. How does that go? How does having a bitter rivalry like that? I hate Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. I'm a lowly Jets fan. I've never dated somebody, or I've never been married, but I've never dated someone that had such a passion for another team, and as much as you do. So how does that feel? That's great.
It's pretty cool, man. It's definitely, she gets in. She actually got me more. I don't say more into college. Like I watched NFL forever, but she's a huge LSU fan, so she took me to my first, college.
Yeah, let's say.
So we went to LSU in Florida because I was a big Gators fan growing up, just by proximity.
That's right.
So they actually cook real gator in their tailgates, and I'm like, oh, the country is hell. So
the Tebow special.
Yeah, so it's dope when we can go back and forth, man. I can clown her. She's got Jameis now, even though he didn't play today. But I'm like, shit.
Oh, Tatum Hill, right? Tatum Hill.
Yeah.
I saw this tweet, and it said, when you're a white quarterback, there's always opportunities. There's always a job somewhere.
Yeah, which is clear, man. It's clear. There's some people on a roster that I'm like, Kaepernick still. No, nobody? Okay, Dallas Cowboys.
You're going to put a 30-year-old guy that barely plays. He calls him Steve Young, freaking Sean Payton. We're not a sports program, but I love sports. And, yeah, Sean Payton, I don't know what he's doing. That's crazy. Did they win? Did they played today, right?
They did, yeah. I mean, they played the Falcons. Their schedule cookie cutter, man. They're not playing anybody right now. So, I mean, it was a bad time he went out because it's close to the playoffs, but it's a good time because they don't really have much schedule. So, but it's been fun, man. We talk a lot of shit back and forth, man. She's not a gambler, so but we just end up watching this. Yeah.
It's bad economics to have both spouses be gamblers, so you got to pick one.
Yeah, we actually were supposed to go to the game. The very first game of the season was the Brady Breeze Bowl this season, and then COVID canceled it, and we had to get a refund and all that. So that was going to be pretty sad.
Before we move on, do you enjoy having Tom Brady and Gronkowski on your team now?
I do. Yeah, given our history, I mean, I'm for the audience. I'm born in Tampa. I'm a fan since '86.
He is.
And so this isn't like a bandwagon thing for me, but I've seen our long link of failures, and we haven't been to the playoffs since 2012. So this is the best offense we've had. So usually our defense has held us up. But
was that with Gruden when you guys made it in 2012?
Well, that was playoffs. We won in 2002. So that was Gruden. That was coming off Tony Dungy, and then Gruden won it his first year. So that was like Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp. That was that.
Yeah, but 2012. Oh yeah, so that was Gruden, right? No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that was Gruden. Yeah, that was his first year.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because Tony Dungy went to the Colts. So really, we give that Super Bowl to Tony Dungy because he built the team.
I totally agree.
Gruden
he did build.
Yeah, Gruden. Yeah, he came in like Steve Kerr and got all the.
And that was messed up too. It was they got wind that John Gruden was available. The what's his name? The owners. I don't even think they own it anymore.
Glazers, yeah,
the Glazers, and they own the Manchester United as well. But
shit, didn't know that. Yeah,
I think it's Manchester. No, not Manchester. Is it Manchester? They own a really big club. I know that. And once the availability came around for John Gruden. You take like a Hall of Fame coach like Tony Dungy and just like, see you, bro. We're going to go trade for him. Not even like wait for him to be on the market. They traded for him. That was fucked up. We
did the same thing to Lovie Smith, too.
Well, Lovie Smith is not that great of a coach, but I get you, though.
They gave him 1 year. So that same comment you just said, you got a white quarterback. Same thing for a white coach, too. You get a lot.
Oh, you're right. No. And Lovie Smith definitely deserved opportunities and multiple opportunities. He was part of the Rams team. He was part of the Bears team with their defense. And obviously the defense with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Raheem Morris. Yeah, no, I know.
I like Raheem, man. So yeah, man. So it's interesting. I'm definitely not excited. I reserve my reservation there. If we make it to the playoffs, that's all I can ask for. My wife just told me the other day that nosebleed seats for the Super Bowl are $10,000, and I'm like,
oh man, that's like a PSL, man. That is crazy. Holy
I don't know if I can front that. It's in Tampa, so the stars are aligning.
Nice. So let's talk about your fraternity real quick. Are you still involved? Do you still? Well, not still. You're always for life. You knew I was Phi Delta Theta, but like you were always that was a big thing. One of the first times I met you, I saw you with the Kane actually, and I used to go to those parties with the Jungle Juice and all that, and the lines. That was the first time I ever saw that kind of stuff. And my dad was a Q dog. I didn't even know that until I came back from Indiana and I told him about all this. I was like, yeah, there's like fraternities and sororities everywhere. There's like a fraternity and sorority for every group of people. Like, it's not like just like varsity blues and shit like that. It's not like, and yeah, my dad was like, yeah, I was a Q dog, blah, blah, blah. So I learned that about him. And yeah, no, you gave me a big appreciation, especially for the non-Neopaleolithic, for the black freaking, for the minority cult. You taught me a lot, not just you, but the people on campus just living their lives. And I really appreciate it.
Oh man, that's huge, man. Because I was learning all that stuff. You know, I didn't know anything about it either growing up. So I was just
tell the audience what fraternity you're in. Tell the audience what fraternity.
Cap outside, baby.
That's right.
Cap outside.
Very famous.
Yeah, cap outside, man. So shout out to any noobs that's listening, man. But yeah, man, it was just really some guys that really took us in as like younger. Like they didn't push us in any direction at all. They didn't even tell us that anything. I didn't find out till months later that they were friends. And so that just brother, and grew up the only child. So to have a bond with some people that I can be close with, and so I was learning what it meant to be, and I was learning all that fraternity shit when I first got into football too. My uncle's a Q as well, branded and everything. It would be, you know, I didn't realize none of that shit until I was like, oh, that's a thing. And so even before I went to college, my mom was like, you're gonna be, I think Stomp the Yard or something was out back then. And my mom was like, you're gonna be doing all that in college, and I was like, get out of here.
Get out of here. I love your mom, by the way. Shout out to her. She's really, really funny on your story. When you guys take shots, man, I like cry. It's hilarious.
Oh man. It took us 30 years to get there, man.
Oh, good. Whatever, man. Relationships. That's good. That's good, man. Good. You raised a great guy, man.
Yeah, man. I'm not me and a lot of the older, you know, a lot of the older cats, a lot of the older dudes, we still have group chats and everything. We still check in with each other, but not here in San Antonio, man. Here, I'm just really focused on the nonprofit.
I feel you.
I know it sounds cliche to be like, man, I'm always busy, but like,
you are.
I didn't realize like a nonprofit job is really like it's a full.
You need an intern. I have an intern for social media. You need one too, bro. You need one more than me. Yeah, you need people. You need like a community manager. I used to be a community manager, but you need someone to get up in those DMs and or even reply to people. Yeah, dude, there's people and even like I said, there's people that will intern for that. Even though I'm not a big fan of doing things for free, but yeah, sounds like that's what you need in your budget.
Man, when the list blew up, when the list went viral, when people like wanted their own copy, I had to give my wife. I was like, yo, I have my personal DMs and the Black History DMs. They're like, I shit you not.
She's in the medical field, right? I know that she was also she's also a veteran, but she's in the medical field too, right?
Yeah, she's a nurse. Yeah, and she runs a nurse now.
Oh, big! Wow, damn! Shout out to you in the military and her as well. But shout out to her being on the front lines, man, and all these idiots out there. I hear a lot of people like, oh, anti-mask, and that's fine. But the only thing that I'm not fine about is people like your wife. You know what I'm saying? Putting them either in harm's way or taking them away from someone that doesn't need to be going through that. You know what I'm saying? That's where I get upset with people being anti-mask. I'm like, I'm not wearing it for just like, you know, just for personal reasons. I'm wearing it for the doctors and the nurses that are inundated with this. They want to go work on something else. They want to go fix up another problem. They don't want to just because of your personal liberties. You again? Like, you're on a ventilator again? What the fuck?
Yeah. It's selflessness, you know, and how do we get, you know, we preach selflessness as a country and trying to come together as a country whenever we get hit with a terrorist attack, but that seems to be the extent of it.
Yeah.
It's like a hurricane in certain places, like, let's help each other out. It's like, all right, well, COVID's the fucking same, similar lines of that. Like, let's help each other out. Like I saw a wedding, I think it had 55 people and like 7 deaths from like a 55-person wedding, and I was like,
They just closed down a swinger party in New York City last night. A swingers party. What type of mask is going on? There's a lot of holes in
The
that
leather
mask.
one. Yeah.
The bondage mask.
Yeah. I used to watch Real Sex back in the day, man.
Who did it? They're either lying, though. They probably, if they didn't watch it, they were lying. It's okay.
Yeah, that and Taxi Cab. You lied. You watched it.
Right? Oh, my God. Taxi Cat Confession. So before we wrap up and get into all the platforms we should be looking, real story about Taxi Cat Confessions. My dad, so I was watching it one day, and I went to school in Jackson Heights. You mentioned my charter school that I went to. As a matter of fact, what's his name? Connor McCoy went there as well, and so did Danny Sanchez. We all came from Bosnia and all that. And so I'm watching the show, and I see what I think is a gorgeous woman sitting in the back, and it says Jackson Heights. So I'm like, oh, Jackson Heights. And I sit down. I'm like, yeah, that's where I went to high school. And she's hot. Hell yeah. So then they start talking, and they're like, yeah, sometimes I leave the dildo up there for 2 hours to keep the cavity open, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? And I was young, by the way. I wasn't like, 34. Like, I think I was maybe like 16, 15. I'm just like, what? Why would you have to leave a dildo up your cooch in order to, like, keep the... And I started putting it together, and I'm like, oh, my God, that's a man, or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? At the time, I was just like, so as a sick joke, I heard my dad coming downstairs, and he's even a bigger hornball than me. So I was just like this. I was like, oh, I got him. I'm like, yo, look how hot this girl is. And he goes, oh, man. He, like, sits down, like, oh, man, yeah. And I'm like, and I was like this. I was like, I'm going to leave right now. I, like, just dipped out. I was like, then all of a sudden I hear, oh, fuck. Not gonna lie, though. She was hot, so she could fool a lot. But the reason why I say that is because I should have known better, because Jackson Heights, where I went to high school, had the second biggest gay parade in all of the city. When I would get off the train, there would be this big purple line the day after the parade. There would be finger poppers all over the floor, condoms all over the floor, lube all over the floor, like just all HIV packets. Well, this was like back in the 2000s, so now it's a little bit more progressive. It's not just it's all time. Yeah, so shout out to that show, and shout out to Jackson. Not giving me fair enough warning. You know. But again, how do we reach you? What platforms we should look out for? Are there any other projects you're working on that we all want to know about?
Yeah, man, the Black Ourstory was still rolling there. That's just Black_Hour, not like time, but like Our Stories. Ourstory.
I love it.
You follow the page there, man. It's a living museum, so that's what I try to curate it as. And then Project Help, man. So that's just Project Help _SATX. So we got our first partnership, man, in the city, man. First big like place partnership. Like I said, we've been doing house parties and hours still within COVID rules. We got a limited space at this really big venue called Chicken and Pickle.
Oh, I saw that. That's cool. Cool name.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. I hate to put a race on it, but there's a race. It's like a chicken ball tournament. Like it looks like your wiffle ball with like tennis, but it's mixed in with some other.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but it's huge, and people out here love it for whatever reason. It's only in certain places, like they're found in Kansas, some shit. Anyway, so yeah, December 4th.
Don't bite the beak that feeds you, homie. You got it, man.
Yeah, I'm thankful they're providing us some space, man. We're gonna make some sandwiches and everything again. So you more than welcome to come, to the folks out there to donate, to come down and contribute to. We got a website, weareprojecthelp.com. So folks in Atlanta's doing it. So we fly down so ours is December 4th and 5th. And then we fly to Atlanta the following week for their event on the 11th and 12th. It'll just be 2 Project Helps going back and forth, man, helping out the community. We fed 101 families yesterday, 3 Thanksgiving meals. So really just trying to give back, man, and really, that's a lot of work, but you see people happy, see some people smiling and thankful, so it makes all of it worth it. So, yeah, man.
You're also a poet. So before we go, could you tell us the books that you have written in poetry and where to look for them?
They're all on Amazon, man.
I bought those as well. They're so good. You're a very great writer, man.
Man, thank you. Yeah, the trilogy is. I told myself I was never doing one, but I told myself I want to do 3 and move on. So right, the history book is the next.
You like the weekend over here? No, you don't stop.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can go on Amazon, man. Love, Lust, damn, I forgot the damn books myself.
You like Joe Budden over here with that?
You can actually just search Marquise Bynum.
That's right.
Just search Marquise Bynum, but Intro Perspective is the last one I released. Or if you just find Intro Perspective, all one word. I know that's not even a word, but I created the word.
Well, you're a wordsmith. Wordsmiths can do that.
Feelings, got my heart broke at the time, and it turned into poetry. So 6th grade, good old 6th grade love.
Oh, wow, 6th grade love. I was about to say something, but then it was going to end up really, really more inappropriate than I am usually. So there we go. Never mind. All right. So, yes, you can find Black Ourstory _Ourstory, Project Help. Again, Project Atlanta, the new vertical, the new sister program to that. Please go over there to donate. Please go over there to help any way you can. They make sandwiches for the homeless, and they do other things to collaborate with the community. I love it. Again, go check out his books on Amazon. Go check out the historical events that led up to George Floyd. He's going to make a hardcover soon. You can catch us. Or you can catch the Keep Up program on Keep Up NYC on Instagram. You can catch me on Still Insane on everything pretty much, Facebook, wherever you want to find me. Keep Up Shut Up is the Facebook official page. We're also on Patreon. I keep mentioning that, but we're trying to set that up. Maybe you can give us some feedback, audience, of what you want on there, what you would pay for, but I can't figure it out because the YouTube video comes out the same fucking day as the thing, so I can't give you the episode that early. I'm only one man. But maybe if you contribute to the Patreon, maybe I can pay somebody to do it. So who knows? We'll see. We're on Twitch. We have engineers that are on Twitch as well. John of all trades. He just did a podcast episode with someone from Canada. You should go check that out on Sammy and John. What else? I think that's it. I'm on Twitter.
Man, before you go, man, I got to give you your roses, bro. Like I know I've told you personally, man, but you were definitely one of the inspirations for. I don't even keep up with the podcast like I'm supposed to. That is hate podcast.
You're a busy guy, bro. I don't expect you to.
But you are a direct inspiration and influence, man. If I go to your page, I listen to, and how you pitch and how you interview and all that. So with the series that the Little Black History, trying out the Black Live story. So thank you for you giving up your time. I know this shit. I can only imagine. I'm putting one post together and how long it takes me. You're putting week to week of content and having to watch 15 trash-ass movies like The Craft, Legacy.
Just The Craft.
So let me, as an audience member, say thank you to you and give you your roses, because nobody else now is going to watch The Craft because you sacrificed. You died on that cross for them, and you gave it 0. So I'm just, I'm saying to say you did that for them. You did that for us, the audience. So
well, Blumhouse, it's okay. They're not short on any money, but if you want to watch the original from 1996, it's lit. Yeah. By the way, Scream 5 just finished up filming, and the title of that is Scream.
What movie before we go? What movie are you looking up to the most, man? Next year is going to be crazy. All these movies since everything got pushed back. So
well, I'm very happy. I'm very happy about Wonder Woman, even though that sucks that they won't be. But they're not hurting too bad because, and we should have had this on the movie segment. But Patti Smith, the director, and HBO and Warner, they're going to put it on HBO Max, and they're going to have it in theaters. So at first I was like, damn, that was a dud, just like Tenet, blah, blah, blah. But they're focusing the release in China. So they'll make that money. And it's and the virus is pretty much non-existent over there, at least from what we know from propaganda. Who knows? But it seems like it's over. It seems like it's over over there in Wuhan and all that type of shit. But yes, I'm looking forward to movies like that. It sucks because I've had superhero fatigue, but unfortunately the biggest blockbusters are going to be that again. So I am looking forward to that. Is there any other movies that are non-Marvel or non-DC?
007 for me, man. I'm a big fan.
Absolutely. And Phoebe Waller-Bridges is doing the script for that. And we're going to have our first black 007.
Yeah. I'm wondering if she's going to be an agent or just like a...
She's an agent. No, she's an agent.
She is an agent.
Yes,
okay,
that's why she's had her social media deactivated ever since she got casted because she knew how much of the backlash there was going to be because she actually is the first agent.
See, those are the motherfuckers that don't understand, because the first agent we ever saw outside of 007 was Alex Goldeneye, 006. So it's like there's been a world of 00s.
But that's why it's significant, because they're actually giving the prestigious 007. You're absolutely right.
Oh, she's
the first 007. Yes, she's the first black 007.
I thought she was just going to be like a 9 or like a, oh, man. Okay.
And he's retired a few times, the James Bond. So it could be possible that he lost the 007 moniker and they passed it on to someone else, which could leave the door open to her being, who knows? We haven't seen it. So, yes, I am looking forward to it.
I haven't researched anything because I want to be surprised.
And big shout out to Rami Malek, the guy that won the Emmy for Mr. Robot, and he won the Academy Award for the Freddie Mercury movie. Yeah. Shout out to Dave Chappelle. Making great Freddie Mercury jokes. But anyway, yes, you can catch the show on Keep Up NY on Twitter, Pinterest, wherever the fuck you want. We need to collaborate more, Keith, whenever you got some free time.
Definitely.
Anything,
great, man.
Anything you need, man. Fun. You are a great creator, and I love to work with great creators. You're a great guy. Yes, thank you so much for being on the show. You got anything else before we out?
No, man. Thank you for the opportunity, man. This was fun, man. This was super fun. So thank you, man. Seriously.
All right, man. I'm gonna have to wear sunglasses after this. You bling the shit out of me. You better listen up. Oh no, I fucked it up again. You better shut the fuck up, listen up, and keep up with my big boy Keith. And still been saying, over and out, homies.